second. Okay, welcome to week 1 on the Lost Confederacy channel. We got a special treat for y'all today. Today is our 2-year anniversary on the YouTube channel going live. So we've given you 104 consecutive weeks of inventors, Dr. Carter G. Woodson quotes, and we covered a lot of governmental documents within this time period. So y'all stick and stay and rock with us. We're gonna go ahead and play a little intro song to get into it tonight. And we're gonna have some I told you so moments about that affirmative action decision that came down for the bougie house Negroes.
Yeah, okay. Y'all know who it is. Who is it? Lil Jon, the motherfucking East Side boy. Yeah. I got my nigga Zay kids with me too. Live show. We gonna do this for all the real motherfucking niggas. Holla at them niggas, Jay. Come on!
Kiss name known, matter of fact, kiss name blown. And bitches always wanna hit me like I just came home. But I still put the tools in your mouth. And niggas know that I'm a monster on the east, but I'm huge in the south. Cause it's evil in the trenches, and everybody's starving. So to get the money right, we put the diesel on the benches. Down bottom feel like the old days. Fucking with the corn liquor, riding round, listen to OJs. When you load in the clip, every slug got a catch. When you going to war, every thug got his match. SS baby, blue Impala with the Mac in it. Big gold cup with rhinestones with my pack in it. It's like the jungle, but the broads is fine. And if they ain't puffin' crippy, then it's Georgia pine. Listen, I'm the wrong nigga to style with. I'm a motherfucking problem to reconcile with. Nigga,
we knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. Motherfucking heads off. We knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. Motherfucking heads off. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. What? Pussy niggas, lay it down. Me and my niggas finna clown. Pussy niggas, lay it down. Me and my niggas finna clown. We throw our fucking click up. We give a fuck if you don't like us. We throw our fucking click up. We give a fuck if you don't like us. Don't like them niggas, can't stand that bitch. Don't like them niggas, can't stand that bitch. We'll shut the club down. If y'all niggas wanna clown, we'll shut the club down. Bitch, say so. We knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. Motherfucking heads off. We knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. We knockin' heads off. Motherfucking heads off. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. What? Y'all know when the beat break down and shit. What's up? It's time to get motherfucking buck wild. F.B.I. Now this is what I want y'all niggas to do. What's up? All the real niggas and ladies out there. Okay. Y'all need to repeat after me. Right now! I ain't scared of no nigga, I ain't scared of no bitch, I ain't scared of nobody in your motherfucking clique. I ain't scared of no nigga, I ain't scared of no bitch, I ain't scared of nobody in your motherfucking clique. Man, fuck that shit, nigga, fuck that shit, man, fuck that shit, nigga, fuck that shit, man, fuck that shit, nigga, fuck that shit, man, fuck that shit, nigga, fuck that shit. We knockin' heads off, we knockin' heads off, we knockin' heads off, motherfucking heads off, we knockin' heads off, we knockin' heads off, we knockin' heads off, motherfucking heads off. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. You wanna go, nigga? Let's go, nigga. You wanna go, Where the fuck you thuggin' at? I knock off your head with a Louisville slugger back. P and go to war and I ain't never have to bring a nigga. My gun is arm length, my bullets like a finger, nigga. Call up Lil John and them Eastside boys. All I need is a little bomb and some Eastside toys. You can catch me in the dirty South. I got a dirty mouth, sitting on the roof with the fucking 30-30s out. Told you I'm a menace, y'all. I got enough guns to fill up the Lenox Mall and the front parking lot. Coke still moving good, blunt still spark a lot. Hustling with family, partying with murderers, D-blocking everything. Shit, you probably heard of us. Yeah, I'm a rider, nigga. You ain't got a gun or a motherfucking knife. You ain't even gon' try it, nigga. Leave you with a hole, daddy. And for the fact that I'm in the dirty South, I'll be bouncing in the old caddy. What, motherfucker?
All right. Today is going to be a special day for us. Again, it's our anniversary. It's our 104th consecutive week on the Lost Confederacy YouTube channel. So I want to say first, shout out to Chief Biko, shout out to Chief Widewater, Chief Blackcoat, Chief Akibalon, Chief Ram. We're leading by example. We're showing what it takes, what it looks like to set a goal and to walk it down week after week after week. We also, this has been a special year upon inventory and review, looking back over these last 52 weeks. This was this past year for us. We were able to go on different platforms and present this information. So first and foremost, want to salute Indigenous One. That was the first channel that we went on and did a presentation on. So definitely got a shout out to Indigenous One's channel. That was our inaugural presentation. Next, Aboriginal TV. That was our second appearance. Shout out to Aboriginal TV. Third, Copper Empress. Got to salute you as well, for letting us come and do multiple presentations with these public records. They're not our records. We don't hold them or claim to be the only ones that have it. It's public records. So the more all of us get familiar with this information, the more we all kind of level up together. And we come as a confederacy, we come as a collective mind, we come as a mastermind, as Napoleon Hill would say. And last but not least, we still, we're gonna salute Sonetta. That was our most recent opportunity to do a presentation. He is the alpha of the quote unquote conscious movement. So we got a chance to go over there and lock shit down, shut shit down. And here we are now, after tonight, we'll be working on week 3. We got some different things that we look forward to moving forward now that we've got the presentations out the way. So the people are rocking with the information and the way we present it in chronological order. We've said this before on this channel, but this year moving forward, we'll still do presentations. Oh yeah, and shout out to Supreme Chief Holiday, Alabama, DJ Kutak, everybody over there, and everybody else that's reached out and want to build, want to come together and form that confederacy and come basically as a mastermind. But this year, we got a challenge for everybody that has a large platform, quote unquote. And our challenge is we want public servants. We want public officials. In specific, we want Black congressional Congress members. It's time for us to do a presentation with the people who matter, right? I would love to do something with Barack Obama. He's a constitutional lawyer. So who better else than to know this history but him? I would love to do a presentation with him, but nobody is safe, so we're putting it out there on this channel. Anybody that has a large enough platform that can be the liaison and make that happen and start calling these public servants, man. It's time for them to get tarred and feathered. And we finna have an I told you so moment. We finna start this thing off with an I told you so moment. We going straight into this affirmative action that went down early this week. I know they ain't think we were just gonna keep quiet on it. We've been telling y'all prisoners of war. So now we finna just give a refresher for everybody that's new to the channel. You might not, you might not be up to speed. We just came out the civil rights era. Well, we still in the civil rights era with the FBI Cointel, but I'd be damned if the universe or the supreme architect of the universe didn't align the stars and the planets just right to have this verdict come down right when we're in these documents. So we finna have an I told you so moment, and we getting ready to show you why I always say, show me a group of people that don't know their history, and I'm gonna show you a group of people with fucked up politics. You just lost affirmative action as it relates to schools, because as a collective, we don't know our history. And so as of this week, that Pan-African shit, that Afro-American shit, not wasting my time. I'm speaking for everybody on this channel. We're not wasting our time with you niggas. I was in high school when that shit came out, and it was an elective, and it was an easy A. You're not finna make us all be Afro-American. We're not even wasting y'all time. You feel me? It's a waste of time at this point. We're going straight to public servants, public officials. So we're gonna get straight into this. First thing I wanna do is go to, let me share my screen real quick. Starting to share screen will stop other participants. Hold on 1 second. Make sure everything right on my end. Boom, boom, boom. All right, can y'all see my screen? Okay.
I'm loading up real quick. Yep, good to go.
All right. 1 second. All right, so what we're showing right now, we're going back and we're going straight to, we're gonna show how this affirmative action happened. And we're going right back to the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And the reason why the 1964 Civil Rights Act is so important, and I'm talking to my people today, so we all gonna be in our bag. It's a celebration for us. You know, we accomplished the goal. We got another 52 weeks under our belt. It's been ups and downs, good times, bad times, but we stayed consistent and steady like Freddie. So here we are. And my people out there, just like you memorize your favorite song or your favorite slow jam, we need to know these civil rights acts like the back of our hand. The way I like to say it is real simple. 1964, they ended intense military occupation. That's all you really need to know about 1964. This is when desegregation ended, all right? So what we want to do is we're going to go straight to Title II. I don't know if you can share this, Chief Quietwater, in the chat as we just do this quick build real quick. Okay.
Did you pin it and you didn't send it in the chat?
No, I don't know if you can send it, Chief Biko, on the back end or how y'all want to do it, but if it's a way that y'all can pin it in the chat, that's fine. For those that don't have it, I'm sure people already have it. If you don't have it, always check the video description on every video we do. We always drop the proof of claim documents in the video section. But we're going straight to Title II. Title II says injunctive relief against discrimination in places of public accommodation. Section 201 says all persons shall be entitled to the full and equal enjoyment of the goods, services, facilities, privileges, advantages, and accommodations of any place of public accommodation, and as defined in this section, without discrimination or segregation on the ground of race, color, religion, or national origin. So the first thing I'm going to say on that section right there, you're not going to learn this shit in school. We already know that. So if you're a teacher and you listening to this live, or if you hear this on the replay, at this point, why y'all giving a fuck? They done roll back affirmative action in school. So you might as well keep it real and start telling the kids what's really going on. We were not allowed to go to school. When I say we, I'm talking about the American was not allowed to go to school with the European. This is an A and B conversation, people. This is between us and the European. The Asians weren't here like that. Other melanated immigrants weren't here like that. People from the continent of Africa weren't here like that. People out of the Caribbean weren't here like that. That's the American who was denationalized from Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, and all the other uncivilized tribes. We were the ones that were having an issue with the European. We were the ones that pioneered the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which ended desegregation, which was, we pioneered the ability for us to be able to go into public and to go into public schools. Not the Asian, not the Nigerian, not the Jamaican, not the Bahamian. We did. Anything y'all want to say on that part right there?
You are absolutely right. I definitely agree. This is all about us. You know, there's no debate about who this affects, basically. You know, a lot of people want to jump in the fight, and a lot of people want to, you know, try to get into the mix of what we have going on. But like you said, this is definitely us against them.
Definitely agree with that. Like you stated, A and B conversation. This pertains to, as you stated, the American and the European. We know that because the European wasn't hanging other groups of people in town squares, having photo ops, having, you know, postcards sent, stamps, you know, etc. Other groups weren't having to have green books created. So again, like you stated, this is strictly between our group and the European. And we know today that everybody else ate off it, and we are pretty much just left with, you know, the leftovers.
Correct. So just keeping it real simple, Title II of the 1964 Civil Rights Act allowed you to move about in America freely without getting bussed at. All right. Without getting killed. You could get killed for going in McDonald's once upon a time. You could get killed for going in the wrong gas station if it said no colors allowed. That pertained to us. This is why we got to know our history, because we got other people speaking as of this week with the affirmative action that their parents were not here. You understand? This is the problem. It's time for us to start telling people to shut the fuck up. This ain't got nothing to do with you. The second point, Title IV. Title IV of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and this is at the federal level, desegregation of public education. This ties right into the affirmative action decision from their Supreme Court this week. It says, first is going to give the definition of commissioner and desegregation. The definition of commissioner means the commissioner of education. Second definition is desegregation, means the assignment of students to public schools and within such schools without regard to their race, color, religion, or national origin. But desegregation shall not mean the assignment of students to public schools in order to overcome racial imbalances. So you see that? You see the trick at the end? You see the trick at the end? So what just happened this week in the Supreme Court was they made a decision now when you go to admissions to go to college, now race doesn't play a factor. They want you to write an essay about, if you're going to bring up your race, you got to write an essay as to, you know, why you feel like race should be a factor. Again, if we don't know our history, if you're applying through admissions, then you're not going to know that my granddad was segregated against, or my grandma was segregated against, and my great-grandparents weren't allowed to even apply to go to Ohio State. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a great moment for us to stop fucking with these people, okay? Because they still want you to run up and down that basketball court, still run up and down that football field. They still want you to hit that baseball. But when it comes to the intellectual degrees that you're going to be applying for, they want to play this race game, right? That's what I want to say on that. Anything y'all want to throw in on that?
I think it just proves again, over and over again, that they need our consent. We have to actively consent to be involved with the BS in order for it to be able to work. And that's what they've been able to do. We are consenting to this machine running, and we are inputting our energy and having faith in this system. And every single time at the end of the day, it kicks us in the ass. So I think this is just a perfect example for us, another example for us to just open up our eyes and realize that something has to change at this point. Like, it can't continue to go this way.
Correct. And like you highlighted, this isn't going to affect, you know, the quote unquote student athlete. we already see what's going on with that in regards to just, monetary gains. That they're going to make sure that they reap the benefits from that. But as you stated there, both Chief Quietwater and Alligator, when it comes to the education, when it comes to the actual skill work, talking about doctors, because you have to get, a PhD in order to do that. When you talk about lawyers, when you talk about these high skill positions, which, they hold these titles in such esteem at your Harvards, your Princetons, your Stanfords, your whatever the school may be that is held at such esteem, when they say, well, we don't have to, meet our quota in regards to having, the African-American, the Blacks, whatever they want to call us at this point, now you start to see, okay, hold on, how is this going to affect the masses? So I think that's very key for us to pay attention to.
And also on the flip side of that, I think too, with, the HBCUs as well, just think of how that's going to look, when anyone can just walk in the door and apply and get accepted, because, they can't, turn you away if you're not, Black or American to attend the school. So that's definitely going to change as well. And again, this goes back to them projecting. This just didn't happen. They've been projecting this for years prior to this going on. So again, another eye opener for us.
Yeah, we had a point where it's time to just start telling people to watch their fucking mouth. You know what I'm saying? The word Black, Negro, Afro, it's time out for that shit. And the last thing I want to do on this 1964 Civil Rights Act is I'm going to do a quick search for those that have already watched, followed us on this bill. I'm putting in the word Negro. You see it pops up. No matches were found for Negro on the 1964 Civil Rights Act. I'm going to put in the word Black. No matches were found for the word Black. I'm going to put in colored. No matches were found for the word colored in the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And I'm going to do the African American, which wasn't even a thing in 1964. No matches were found. So this is the problem. And again, we're Monday morning quarterbacking what happened in the 1960s. But this is one of the worst things that could have happened is they wrote a 1964 Civil Rights Act to end intense military occupation, which is also known as Jim Crow, which is also known as segregation, but they never defined the quote unquote Negro, Black, and colored in this act. What they did was said, this was an invitation to everybody on planet Earth that if you want to come and be a United States citizen, we're not going to fuck you over like we've been doing the American in the Southeast section east of the Mississippi River. We got to understand that. And so now we're paying the price for that wordplay not being specific to us. Now I got to talk to my money getters out there. We got to look at this from an accounting standpoint. This government has never accounted for us. See, when you're not defined as the Negro in law through Congress signed by the president, or Black or Negro or colored, there's no resources that can be specifically allocated to you. Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. He's the one that gave that game. He was right on that. We've never been itemized. So we're put in this bowl with all these people that weren't even here going through what our people went through. That's how this shit just happened this past week. So we're going to get into the next point on this. All right, let me minimize this. Can y'all see this? Am I clear on y'all end?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so if you're looking at your screen, the Asian didn't go through this. The Africans from Nigeria didn't go through this. Jamaicans, Haitians, Bahamians, they weren't here to go through this. This is what we went through, where it says we wash for white people only at the laundromat. So y'all see the dilemma? This is what Jim Crow looked like for our grandparents and our great-grandparents on this land. They were specifically targeting us, but then you get civil rights acts that don't specifically address us. They allow everybody to shoehorn themselves in to our fight with the European who has taken our name through propaganda. And what I mean by that is they'll get in front of the TV and call themselves American. Our country, American, our country. But in writing, you got to be a US citizen, but through their TV propaganda, they'll claim to be us. It's time for us to start telling people to watch your fucking mouth. I'm sorry. I love my elders. I love my great aunts and my grandparents. And, I love all them, but we got to pick up the ball where y'all fucked up. Where y'all fucked up is we got to start going in these people's mouths and checking these people. Because if we don't check them, nobody else will respect us. Anything you want to do on that, Chief Quietwater, Chief Biko?
I mean, simply put, it got to stop now. It definitely has to stop now, because anything more or anything further than where we are now, we're just going backwards, totally backwards.
Definitely in line with y'all. Has to stop now. We have to be the ones to stop it, because we see at this point it's going to be just another reclassification for our group, which is just going to push us further from the truth, which is that we are the Americans.
Correct. So now what I'm trying to do, and see if I can go to my next, see if it's going to let me go to my next image on here. That's what I want to show you. Let me see if it's going to let me do it. All right, here we go. Okay. As we can see right here, again, when we know our history, we can tell people to shut up. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Because what the Asians just did is they just used the Civil Rights Acts, and they used the affirmative action that was specifically meant for us. But because the European never specifically wrote it to us, you got another group of people that were able to do a court case, take it all the way to the Supreme Court, and then they're going to sit up here and tell us, they're going to try to tell the people who were actually being warred against why race don't matter. Man, shut the fuck up and sit down somewhere. That's where we at with it. Fuck being politically correct. Your parents didn't have for Asians only on the water fountains on this land. You see what I'm saying? That shit says for colored only. Y'all want to build on that?
I mean, I think it's plain as day.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. I mean, shit, you can't put it no more simple.
So we can see here a map of the Jim Crow South. This looks very familiar to the area where the undeclared Seminole Wars took place, okay? I mean, it all rhymes. That's why we had to do it in chronological order so everybody can see. The same area where they waged unlawful war, never declaring it through their Congress, having their military sign treaties versus Congress signing treaties. This whole area for 200 years up until 1964 was under intense military occupation, AKA Jim Crow, AKA segregation. We got to understand that, and we got to stop letting other groups of people try to shoehorn in on our experience on this land. I'm gonna go through, got one more picture I want to show y'all. Two more pictures. Here's another example during the Civil Rights era. That's either your granddaddy or your great uncle that was getting bit by dogs by the same people that we asked to defund in 2020. You see our problem? We don't have any goals as a group of people. We're emotionally like children. The goal was when Biden 1994 crime bill ass came in office was defund these people, because historically this is what they've been doing to us. And we let that shit slide, and now here you are 3 years into his presidency and you ain't got nothing specifically. And you're not going to get anything specifically because you were never defined through Congress. Anything y'all want to say on that?
And not only that, you were never accounted for. Like you stated, going back to the business acumen. And we can't account for it, we can't allocate nothing for you. I mean, it's common sense.
Not considered at all. But we continue to want to insert ourselves and, play into the narrative that they set out for us. Let's build our own narrative.
Right. We let other people get up and start running their mouth when I come from an era where your family be like, watch your mouth or sit your ass down. That's what we need to be telling these Johnny-come-latelys. The people who came after this era, sit your ass down. This ain't got nothing to do with you. But our problem is we get these, and I'm gonna say this, I don't care about your religious belief. If you Christian, set your Bible down during this live. If you Muslim, put your Quran to the side. If you Moorish, put your circle 7 to the side. This ain't got shit to do with your belief system. We talking about history and law, not your belief system, history and law. Our problem is we try to take a religious approach. No, we allow people who look like us to get in front of the camera and take a religious approach to an historical fact. That's why we're in the situation we in right now. You got the wrong people running their mouth speaking on our behalf. Anything y'all want to say on that?
It's true. We just have to realize that.
And this is the last image that I want to show. It's Martin Luther King watching Lyndon Baines Johnson sign the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That's not an Asian man in that picture. There's not a Nigerian man in that picture, not a Jamaican, not a Bahamian. That is an American Negro, if I'm gonna use that term tonight on this bill. Why do we have other groups of people acting as if they put that work in to get them acts written? That's what this whole affirmative action Supreme Court case was about this week. You got other people repping harder for the damn civil rights acts than we are, because we really don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Correct. And it's that part that you just stated. Other people that have nothing to do with it are repping harder than we are.
Exactly.
We come from that bloodline.
Correct. So I'm going to jump straight to my Dr. Carter G. Woodson quote today. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, if you do not have the book, The Miseducation of the Negro, I suggest that everybody have that book in their library. It was suggested to me pretty much right out of high school, living in the Atlanta area and hanging out in that AUC Center area. That was a different world and a different vibe back then in the late 90s. But this book is required reading for all Morehouse attendants. Anybody who attend Morehouse College, they're all supposed to read the book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Me personally, in my lifetime, I have yet to find a book that best describes our issue. Our issue is a class issue amongst our people. And I'm happy personally that the affirmative action got reversed the way it did. And here's what I mean by that. There's a fake class issue amongst prisoners of war. And the class issue is academia, and then it's everybody else of the Negro group, right? So for about 100 years, the people who went to college wanted to act like they were better than the ones that didn't go to college. But Dr. Carter G. Woodson wrote the book, The Miseducation of the Negro, explaining in detail over 100 years ago that the problem with you niggas when you go to college is you don't come back to the hood that you grew up in and educate the people. What you like to do is move off in the suburbs and think you better than. Well, how that shit working out for you now? Because now there's no more affirmative action. So in other words, it didn't do a damn thing for us. It may have did something for you, but you niggas didn't come back to the community and help nothing. So I'm glad that this shit happened. We all need to be in this boat together. We all gonna put all our credentials aside and we gonna work together, or we not. But you niggas just got your bubble bust. All you bougie ass academia niggas, if you so smart, how you let this happen this week? That part.
Definitely set us back. So all that work and time that they invested in their education, it just set them years back now.
Definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. And as you stated, shit, trying to say, okay, because I have, this paper from this, again, European institution, that I'm better than my family members. Nah, you may be more highly schooled, but that doesn't mean you're more educated. I think that's where we seem to always forget, especially when we're talking about, businesses that were being ran by our grandparents, great-grandparents in these towns, and now we run nothing. So exactly what did that PhD, what did those, credentials do for not only you in the long run, but for our community?
That is correct. And so I'm going to go right into the Dr. Carter G. Woodson quote for today, based off this week's Supreme Court verdict. And let's see if Dr. Carter G. Woodson was actually correct over 100 years ago, what we just experienced about affirmative action. Quote number 5 from Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Real education means to inspire people to live more abundantly, to learn to begin with life as they find it and make it better. But the instruction so far given Negroes in colleges and universities has worked to the contrary. In most cases, such graduates have merely increased the number of malcontents who offer no program for changing the undesirable conditions about which they complain. One should rely upon protests only when it is supported by a constructive program. So basically, for the last 40 to 50 something years, when they introduced affirmative action, what do we as a group have to show for it? With all you niggas, that was the one Negro in the class with all them Europeans. What as a group do we have to show for it? Not a goddamn thing. So come on back with the rest of us and let's get this shit together. Because the Asian don't play that game. They don't play this, you know, I'm socially better because I went to college. They don't have these problems amongst themselves. So you niggas needed a little reality check. Y'all had the game fucked up. Anything y'all want to say?
You hit the nail right on the head. That sums it up pretty much.
I just say for the bourgeoisie, the academia. So now does clap in the half, Kentaji, what's his name, Brown Jackson. Does that mean anything? Still having your one spot basically in their government structure. What does that really mean? And that's basically what we're painting a picture of today. It means absolutely shit. So yeah, you can celebrate your one-offs. But again, what has that done for the collective? Not a damn thing.
Absolutely correct. Couldn't have said it any better, Chief Biko. And it's a tough pill to swallow, but you may be white on the inside and melanated on the outside, but now you still blood, so we're gonna talk about you. There shouldn't be gentrification if we got all these quote unquote highly schooled college graduates over the last 40 years. You understand? And so it's kind of weird how we're all prisoners of war. We all got reclassified. There's people in all of our families. We all from the same family tree. Some got degrees, some run businesses, some unemployed, some in prison. We all come from the same family tree. We all been reclassified. Now the Supreme Court of the United States government just gave y'all a reality check. So now it's time for y'all to come on and get on code with us. You may have thought you wasn't a prisoner of war. Welcome to reality as of this week. Let's go, the Asian hate bill. I'm gonna stop sharing. Can one of y'all share that? One of y'all got that document? Because that's gonna take us right into this next part of the bill as we keep getting into it, because it was Asians that went and got the party started, on behalf of the civil, not us. We're not standing on what our people went through hell for. It was a whole nother group of people. But isn't it interesting, as you click on this Asian hate crime bill, can you go into it? Because what's very interesting is they got a bill written by Congress and signed by the president during the pandemic. After a mass shooting in Atlanta, Georgia, they were able to get a crime bill. Can you do a quick find on this document and type in the word Asian, Chief Biko, so we can see how many times the word Asian pops up? Oh my. So why is it that the acts that's supposed to pertain to our group of people, we never see what we see in this Asian hate bill that they got in 2020 in the heart of the pandemic? This is what we're telling our people. Whether
less than 30 days after George Floyd, right?
Yep, as far as the introduction. Sure.
And that's how we got Juneteenth in lieu of.
Correct.
Right. Give niggas a holiday to go booty shake, but they done straight protected these Asians. The reason why we're bringing up this Asian hate bill is this is when they officially became second-class citizens. We were second-class citizens during the civil rights era, y'all. It was us and it was Europeans. after the civil rights era, because we were never specifically written and defined by Congress into law, now as of 2020 and during the pandemic, the Asian is now the second-class citizen. So don't it make sense that he would file a court case about affirmative action saying that we really don't need that shit no more? I'm just talking with my people because we just having an I told you so moment.
Yeah, we protected already. So give a fuck
Right.
about affirmative action.
Exactly.
You see what happened in 2021, do you not? And let's go ahead and put the slow people in the back and see what actions took place. As Chief Quietwater stated, less than 30 days, this shit was pretty much created, introduced, and in less than 60 days, less than a fiscal quarter, this shit was passed and signed into law. And just take a look here at the votes. So introduced, Senate 323, again, a week after this massacre. Passed in Senate. What does that say? 60 votes, or 94-1 rather. Passed in the House, 364-62, presented, signed off, became law. Again, less than 60 days.
It's crazy.
Wow. As Chief Alligator states, we got an ass shaking holiday.
Holiday.
And it's no disrespect to Juneteenth, because the people in Texas and in Galveston, yeah, that's their issue. That's their reality. So we're not downplaying it, but to make it something national, when we were talking about defund the police or create something to protect us like you did the Asian. But what we've also debunked is it's never going to happen because you were never defined by Congress.
Right.
Scroll up to the top real quick, Chief Biko, just so we can show them the jurisprudence procedure of what we're talking about. Right there where it says tracker. Walk them through that real quick, Chief Biko. So when we say it's never signed by Congress, this is what we're saying. The Negro Black color has never had something go through this process to define who that is. Go ahead, Chief Biko.
Correct. So it's never been introduced, passed by Congress, which again, we know it consists of the Senate and the House, and then is brought to the president who signs it off into law. So again, the Negro, Black, colored, African-American has never had anything like this done for us by this government. Yet we fought in every war, fought for this Civil Rights Acts, fought for this affirmative action, which just got rescinded. So again, as Chief Alligator stated, went from being second class or quasi-citizens, now we sit in damn shit, we just hanging on to the trunk at this point. We ain't even in the car.
Exactly.
And again, we family, so we can say this. Basically, you so smart, you stupid. Because everybody who's been in public servants positions, what we're asking you at this point is, can you at least introduce something?
Right. Put something on the table.
Can you write something on paper? Can you have a meeting with the people and say, what do you collectively want to be recognized as? The American. Can you at least write it and introduce it? And let's see if it passes the Senate, passes the House, and gets to the president. That's a whole nother ball of wax. But we're saying, hell, introduce something, Black Congressional Caucus.
That boogeyman mindset. Oh, no, I mean, nah, fuck all that. Do your job.
Exactly, yeah.
The sad part is they are doing their job, benign and neglecting us, because Black has never been defined, but you got a whole caucus in the United States government called Black. So really, we know the answer to the question. We know you can't define us. That's why you ain't introducing shit. Y'all didn't think we were going to figure this shit out.
Correct.
Chief Quietwater, anything you want to say on that?
No, I'm in agreement with both of you. Yeah, we haven't went through this process for anything pertaining to us specifically. So I don't think that is that hard to understand, especially someone viewing this video and looking and seeing and say, hey, okay, we haven't been through this process. So opening up our eyes trying to open people's eyes to see that there is a process that has to be, gone through in order for, but we got to go all the way back to be recognized. That's the first thing.
Correct. So let me share my screen real quick, Chief Biko. So we're going to add more, we're going to pour more salt on the wound. And what we're going to do now is we're going to entertain some students who actually went on mainstream media and they gave their thoughts about the ruling from the Supreme Court. And this is just to further show our people that we are in an active war. There's no other way to put it. I can't be nice about it. Sometimes you just gotta tell the truth and shame the devil. And that's exactly what's going on. So we're gonna let this thing sink up. But what I want you to pay attention to is nobody from our lineage is in front of mass media about this verdict. They're putting immigrants up to talk about how they feel about it. This is a further slap in the face to us. I'm talking about the people that are living and breathing air that are listening to us right now. This is the hypocrisy of what's going on. Let's see if this thing, okay.
Pro-affirmative action student at both Duke and at UNC Chapel Hill. And I'm curious what your reaction is. I know that you were hoping this would go the other way. What do you make of what you've learned in their decision so far, that they say can't simply be sort of a check mark based on identity, but must be part of a student's narrative, what they present to the school as part of their biography?
Well, I would say that I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. When we talk about holistic admissions, to say that you can include a student's identity, the student, the person behind the papers and the grades and the test scores, that you're not allowed to include race, which is such an encompassing part of at least my identity as an underrepresented minority.
Stop right there. What the fuck is an underrepresented minority? Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson for bringing this to watch the wordplay, y'all. These are accounting terms. This is where we have to say, watch your mouth. Who the fuck are you talking about? What is an underdeserved minority? Watch the wordplay this woman uses in this interview. She's going to use about 10 different adjectives when talking about the people who were Jim Crowed and segregated against. We got to peep game. It's time to stop being dumb with what's going on.
It makes me feel upset. We know what happens when affirmative action goes away from universities. We can look at California, we can look at Michigan, who was already banned it, and see how their state flagships lack a astounding number of Black and Latino students.
Here we go. Why the fuck are you talking about Black and Latino? Anything y'all, she's used 3 adjectives already. Underdeserved minorities and Black and Latino. Y'all see the problem? Chief Biko, Chief Quietwater.
Yeah, they don't have anything to do with this. This goes back to what you were saying in the beginning. They have absolutely no say-so in this whole journey right here. They just throwing adjectives out there, labels.
Yeah, this shit, all this is basically just theater. Going back to Lyndon B. Johnson video, where same thing as him using Negroes, but yet the paperwork don't say shit about it. So it's pretty much the same thing, just in present time or present day.
The one thing that really is making me sad, I'll just say today, is that my identity has to be my race. The struggles that I've gone through, the trauma I've gone through as an African-American woman in the United States. If I were applying to college today, I would have to write about those traumas in my Common App essay. I would have to write about those traumas and those very hard experiences for admissions officers to accept the overwhelming truth that we all know, which is that it is hard to be a Black person in America.
Okay, so she's threw out Afro-American and the word Black now. So we're at the 5th adjective in this little 3-minute video, but here's the cherry on top coming up. This shit is ridiculous. We're not this dumb. But evidently, the people that have been going to college for higher learning that's supposed to be representing our people, y'all don't get it. Y'all really don't get what we're doing tonight on this live. We're showing you that these words this woman is using on this damn mass media propaganda outlet called news, none of that shit's written in the Civil Rights Acts, Black, Negro, colored, underprivileged minority. But you'll spew that propaganda out, but it wasn't written in law. And y'all niggas ain't figured this shit out yet.
And her name says it all. She's definitely not American.
I was making moments ago, now be forced to write about their experiences or about particular experiences that perhaps they might not have included in their essays because they're not allowed now moving forward to put on that piece of paper a key part of their identity. That's what you're saying here.
Yeah, I'm saying that, like, for example, when I was applying to college last year, I had put down that I'm African American. I put down that I come from a Nigerian family.
That's the nail in the coffin right there, y'all. See, this is the problem with Afro-American, and this is why Pan-Africanism is dead and the shit don't exist. Why is a woman from Nigeria talking about something that our grandparents fought and died for? We're in the FBI Cointelpro documents right now where they were locking up our people. This is where you say, shut up and sit the fuck down. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Y'all see the problem. This woman is Nigerian, but she can shoehorn herself in the Black, underprivileged minority, Afro-American. Do y'all see the play? Go ahead, Chief Ego.
I can be all these things and one and more.
And still fight for the American things is earmarked for the American.
Correct. All because of what though? Because we failed
We were
to
not
motherfucking specify
right
who the hell we were in these documents. Because again, as Chief Alligator just showed, quick found, did a quick search for Negro, Black, African American. None of that shit appeared. Yet these are the same terms, except for one, which is Negro, that this woman who clearly states that she's from Nigerian descent, which again had nothing to do with the civil rights. We was talking about colored, Negroes, Blacks only issues. Yet because we did not define what these terms meant, who we are, now we have people who, again, should not be speaking for us, should be shutting the hell up, speaking for our group.
And it's a dangerous place to be in because we're as we continue to go through this, the first common sense question is, why isn't the American Negro doing interviews? See, they're slick with what they do. They'll go get a Nigerian to speak about the civil rights era when her people wasn't even on this land then, right? That's the problem. You're not interviewing the people who descend from the people that were marching and boycotting. We gotta get this, y'all. We're not wasting time with Pan-African talk and Afro-American history talk no more. This is the downfall of it. We gotta get these ticks off our back. You niggas gotta hold your own nuts, man. Go get your shit out the mud. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. Go ahead.
Straight up. I mean, that's the goddamn smoking gun right there. Why don't they have an American talking about some shit that Americans fought for?
But the other thing too, if you put an American on Front Street like that, they're going to say all people, and they're going to say, they're not going to even specifically say anything about our group anyways.
And if that happens, what we have to do is we have to start tar and feathering them or egging them in public. Yeah, it's got to be a penalty to pay to keep doing this shit because we done figured it out. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. Because yeah, this shit don't make no damn sense now. So yeah, that Pan-African shit is dead. All of that, African-American, African studies, you niggas are the problem.
Yep.
Plain and simple. All you niggas who are preaching this shit now reap what you sow. Plain and simple.
Yep.
And being from the area that I was, everyone who is involved in college admissions knows that I was, by being Black, more likely to have experienced things such as under-resourced schools, which I went to growing up, more likely to have teachers that didn't look like me, which was the case in my school. I did not have a Black teacher. And so I think that when it comes to kids who are applying in the next cycle, it is going to be hard to see themselves as someone outside of the race. I feel like that's what allowed affirmative action, by it being limited in the past to just being one factor considered amongst a host of others in a holistic process. It was never going to be the deciding factor after Bakke versus UC Davis, I believe, though many people still believe that it is. And I think that now that students are forced to talk about racial discrimination and their experiences with it, their obstacles with it in their college essays, they're now being known by their race first and by their academics and otherwise other experiences second, because they have to put that in the forefront to prove their experiences through racism in the United States.
Hi, everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get
So we can clearly see that they had a melanated person who does not come from our lineage speaking on our behalf. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the nail in the coffin, and we're going to let you hear another short video from an Asian immigrant talking about this same thing. Again, look at who the Europeans' propaganda media is putting out for the world to speak on behalf of this affirmative action. Not the people who put the work in, not the people who got sick dogs on and were unlawfully lynched in front of hundreds of people. No, they're going to get people who weren't even on the land to talk about this Supreme Court decision. And we're letting it slide, and we ain't saying nothing about it. And it, to me, this is par for the course that we're letting it slide. And the reason why I say that is when you don't practice the first law of nature, which is self-preservation, when you allow these people to kill you and you don't get straightening, or you don't make this government address what's going on, then everything else is downhill. Affirmative action was bound to happen. They can already kill you on video and you ain't doing nothing. So what make you think that they're not gonna roll back other shit from the civil rights era? If they can do affirmative action, what make you think that they can't do segregation again?
Absolutely. And what's next? What's next on their checklist? Because they're strategically doing this. So you're right.
Trying to get to this next video. Anything you want to say on that real quick, Chief Biko?
I was gonna say that's exactly right. The sky's the limit at this point. Hell, if they can again do affirmative action, what's to say segregation won't come about? And our current state, they've already projected that pretty much we're gonna have a net worth of 0 by 2053. And one of the reasons is because we don't have any industries. So if you go ahead and apply segregation, where are all of our business or are pretty much all of the employees going to go to be employed? Since we don't have any industries, we don't run any businesses, we don't have any hospitals, don't have any schools, don't have any, hell, pretty much any, again, industry that we run that we can say, okay, well, we have a lock on this so we can make sure that we at least have control on this. Nothing. So we just play.
Right. And just to even just come straight up the middle with it and not play with it. And if you're not animated right now, if you know you got your grandparents and great grandparents and several generations buried in this land, if you're not heated right now watching this shit, if this don't make you angry where you want straightening or you want justice, then I don't know what to say for you. You on the wrong channel. You don't even need to be listening to it. You're supposed to be upset right now because what it's exposing is these melanated immigrants. They come over here and they teach their kids the game. Inside that household, they're being taught their tradition. You're Nigerian. But when you go around the Niga, you say you're Black, you say you Afro-American because you got to get shit that they're supposed to be getting. So they're double dipping. They're going to get the benefits of being a naturalized citizen and they're going to get the benefits that we fought for. That's the game. Let's just call it what it is. Chief Quietwater, Chief Biko, before I hit play, anything y'all want to say?
No, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's it.
So let's see what this Asian got to say about the whole verdict.
Alex Shea, prospective Brown University student. I know, Alex, you're on the other side of this. You were hoping that the Supreme Court would move in the direction that it did today. Why do you think that this is the right way to move forward on this?
Right. Well, I think this is a win for students all across America because we shouldn't be judging students based on their race or.
We shouldn't be judging students based off their race. You see the problem, y'all? How does he have the audacity with no skin in the game to get up here and say we shouldn't be dealing with race, but yet we had to drink from colored water fountains, which was a racial thing? Do y'all see the problem? This man get right up here and says, I'm happy for the verdict, and it shouldn't be based on race. That's spitting in our faces. And that's pissing on our grandparents' graves.
And it's coming from both sides at this point. You're getting spit at from the left and the right, because you just showed an example of a Nigerian talking about we, this, when your motherfucking ancestors did not fight for this this shit that we talking about, which is civil rights leading into the affirmative action. Then we have another group which benefited off of this all the way up until now. We see that COVID hate bill, which we know is the Asian hate bill. So since we protected, it's fuck y'all to the other group. We the big dogs now underneath this minority umbrella. So yeah, it shouldn't be based off of that. Cause shit, at the end of the day, we got some shit to run back to if we want to, but we just coming over here to take over y'all shit. So yeah, we being hit from both sides at this point. This shit crazy.
And for everybody that's listening, a simple question: where the fuck is the Black Congressional Caucus?
Crickets.
Where are they?
Crickets.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, God damn.
So they just put a barbecue thing up on their probably Twitter page for the 4th.
Are you serious?
You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm almost 100% sure too.
They doing the same exact thing they were doing on January 6, 2021. Them niggas was hiding up under desks, praying and Putin at the same time, hoping that the redneck. You understand? No, I'm being real. Where are they at?
Right.
Y'all should be standing up saying, wait a minute, there would be no Black caucus
right.
if it was the Civil Rights Acts of 1964, 65, 68. There would be no Asian caucus, no Latino caucus, no Asian Pacific Islander caucus. You got the oldest caucus. Niggas, you got the oldest caucus and you ain't got shit to say. Come on, y'all. This shit dumb.
For deciding who gets into what schools. I think that, I believe that your previous guest is mistaken in the truth. Because I think that by getting rid of affirmative action, now we look at the individual student and what they've accomplished, and we can look at what barriers they've overcome. But we view them as an individual first and foremost, as opposed to just viewing them as an blob in an amorphous, larger racial group, as opposed to just under this new system, we get to view students for who they are as individuals. And I think
under this new system, they're changing it right in our face, y'all, and we don't have anybody to speak on our behalf. We have literally, the United States government in 2020 at the start of the pandemic, flushed the toilet on the nigga. So shout out to everybody that's speaking out on platforms while we're spinning around in a whirlpool about to go. They done flushed the toilet on us. And your Black caucus has been paid off to just basically say, hey, let's see how quiet them niggas gonna get.
Right.
So if you ain't speaking out right now, that means that you've been soft your whole life and you're scared. You ain't got shit to lose.
Man, this shit just so crazy to me. Because like you just said, we got the Nigerian pretty much saying, bro, you're tripping. You fucking up our play. We trying to double dip. We do the Black thing just because we want to make sure we get that little thing. But we on the same page, Asian, because we know we gonna get the grades and all that shit to get into these institutions, but fucking up our bag when it comes to the Black aspect. Because that's our other little hustle that we got going on. So yeah, it's just a slap in the face at this point. And again, as Chief Alligator laid out, none of these congressional caucuses would even be a thing if it wasn't for these 1960 Civil Rights Acts. Yet we got all of these people that benefited from these acts that our ancestors fought for, speaking on it as if they were the ones fighting for it, and just, yeah, the shit. Go ahead there, Chief Quietwater.
I was going to say also, we need to definitely start there. Start with the Congressional Black Caucus and make them do something. I think, like we said at the beginning of this video, the debating on YouTube and things like that. I think now it's time to actually get active and, meet with some of these public officials, more so the Congressional Black Caucus members, and make something happen. Because at this point, it's up to us at this point.
Yep. And I'm 100% all in for it. If they can hold court cases on Zoom now, you know what I'm saying? Which is, I don't even want to get into that, but that's so make-believe that I'm going to magically be in a jurisdiction of something through the internet. Then I'm sure these public servants can have a Zoom meeting with the real people. Come from behind that damn stage, take your makeup off. We don't want to see you on NBC News reading from a script. Come talk to the people that are educated, that see the bullshit you running, and let's expose you for who you've been since 1971. You don't work for the American Negro. You work for the governments out of Africa. The shit's over with, man. Gang recognized gang. You ain't got to sit in the classroom to figure this shit out.
That's a much better way to go forward on this topic.
You heard Louie's point there, though, that this now forces students, if they want the school to take into account race in some fashion or form, that they're going to have to now write about this.
Right. Well, I think that fundamentally, right, for most people, race is just a characteristic. It's sort of the way that your body manifests. I think that for some students, that does play a role in how they experience the world, but for some students, it doesn't. And I think that allowing them that option to express that in an essay, for instance, affords much more freedom, because race doesn't affect everybody the same way. And to have a blanket policy where everybody's race is considered no matter what, I don't think that's appropriate, because it impacts different people in different ways.
He's absolutely correct. Race has affected people in different ways. The way it affected us, you cannot relate to because you were not on this land. Do y'all see the problem? Do y'all see the damn problem? He's sitting up here talking about race doesn't affect me. Yeah, you weren't here. You didn't have to go to a coloreds only restaurant or go to a colored only laundromat. You see but they can say this because they know that the curriculum that we learn in school is not written by us. They read the same history book that we have to read. They're in the same classroom with us. They know that we're dumb about what happened to us. So now they're bold with getting in front of the news, talking like this. They feel like you really are the nigga. Like, you don't know what happened to your people. You really don't know what's going on. Y'all take off.
And the sad thing about it, that's true. They know more about how we got to this point than we do.
Correct. But as he stated, yeah, race does affect people in different ways. And again, that just highlights exactly what the whole fucking affirmative action was for. So yeah, it's just yeah, man, just more slaps in the face in regards to this. Because yeah, your people weren't being affected by those colored only water fountains, or having, again, dogs sicked on them, being lynched in, town squares. Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that. You couldn't relate.
And a lot of these arguments oftentimes in favor of affirmative action are somewhat incongruous, because I've heard a lot of people that say, like, hey, affirmative action, it's a good way to overcome past discrimination. But in my experience, as an Asian American, I'm not exactly sure how that works for me, because it's much more difficult for Asian Americans to gain admittance to schools than for white students, for instance. And I don't.
Do you see what he just did? He just omitted the people who allowed his ass to be here. He compared himself to the European. He said that the Asian American has an experience that nobody else has, and he compared himself to the European because he's in second place now and he's fighting for the first place spot. The nigga, and I said this yesterday as an example, let me give this example for everybody that This is the best way I could explain our situation. The European came over here and built a car. For 200 years, we rode shotgun in that car. After 1964, the immigrant got in the back seat and the Latino got in the back seat. Here we are 60 years later, we were riding shotgun. Now we in the back seat in between the gays and the illegal citizens, the Asian riding shotgun with the European now. But here's the catch. You'll never drive the car and you can never buy it from the European because it ain't your government. Anything y'all want to say? I can't put it no simpler than that.
I mean, shit, at this point, for us, we need to say, fuck your car.
Right.
We own the roads. So you can drive all the fuck you want to, but you will be paying a perpetual tax, or you can get the fuck off the road.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't think like that. We want to say, nah, man,
Right.
I want to ride shotgun. None of you niggas gonna drive.
Exactly.
We'll die about that shit. This is what the European is thinking, the US citizen European, the so-called white person. None of you niggas will drive. So you can try to take the car, but we need to say, all right, man, fuck your car. The roads are ours, the land is ours, the resources you use to make the goddamn car is ours. So yeah, you can have your car, but either you're gonna pay this again perpetual tax, or you can take your car and drive that shit straight into the ocean and visit the Titanic. So that's how the time we need to be on.
Right. And here's the extra insult to the injury. Not only are you in the back seat, everybody in the car looking at you to put gas money in the motherfucker. You the only one putting gas in the car. You paying taxes to a government that you ain't even been defined in. Didn't you look at saying no without representation? You niggas paying taxes to a government that won't even define you. Go ahead, GP, go.
That's the funniest shit you could have. Yeah. Nah, you sit your ass between the gays and the rest of them. And matter of fact, the only time we gonna talk to you is when we need you to put some gas.
Time to pay up that gas.
Get your ass out there and pump, bro. 1508.
Right, and you got to pump.
1508. We gonna chop it up about, who may be able to drive the car when I don't feel like driving it. But you nigga go and pump the gas, bro.
I don't think that you'll see in the past the instance of Asians discriminating against whites. So for me, that sort of just falls flat. I'm going to Brown next year, and I'm happy that the admissions officers at Brown took me for whatever reason. But it does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable knowing that in that admissions office, when they were deciding whether they were going to accept me, reject me, that they might have been considering my race, because I think that that's not something that I can control or that anyone can control. And I think that it's unfair to judge someone based on that when there are really so many better ways to judge students based on their character, based on their accomplishments. Race, it's just how you're born, and you can't change it.
And that's the price that we're currently paying, because we quick to shoot one of our own if they step on our shoes. We quick to kill our own and spin the block. I mean, we quick to show we quick to make each other respect each other. But we got other groups of people straight just stepping on our toes, spitting in our face. Come on, man. God damn, this shit is crazy. Now, the final video I'm gonna show is of Donald Trump in 2017. And I know we got memories of fruit flies. We've been traumatized so much, we can't even really itemize all the ass whoopings we done took. We done been beat up so much that you got to be reminded of a particular ass whooping, like, oh yeah, I did get into that fight. So this was 2018, August 10th. And the reason why I'm playing this is we're going to segue this into the steps that these immigrants have to take to become US citizens. They're not the American. We are the American. We're the only group of people on this land that cannot go through or have not gone through the US citizen process. Y'all really got to get that. When they come through Ellis Island and come through Angel Island, they have to go through the steps to become a US citizen. We've never done that. So Donald Trump on this little quick video, this was back when everybody was taking a knee. Shout out to Colin Kaepernick, because he brought out police brutality in 2019. Here we are in 2023, still getting killed by police. Still don't have a damn hate crime bill. So it looks like Colin Kaepernick was right. But I want to show this video because it's going to tie in to the next thing we're going to show. The disrespect just won't stop. All right, she should be ready to go. Let's see. And this was Trump in August 10 of 2018. And he is going to give a brief statement about the protesting.
This Friday. I'm going to start with President Trump up at Bedminster, putting himself right in the middle of the culture wars again, reigniting his feud with the NFL after several players protested in preseason games last night. You're seeing some of the video. The president tweeting just a few hours ago saying the NFL players are at it again, taking a knee when they should be standing proudly for the national anthem. Numerous players from different teams wanted to show their outrage at something that most of them are unable to define. They make a fortune doing what they love. Be happy, be cool is the message from the president. Fans are paying so much money to watch and enjoy. Football game is no place to protest. Most of that money goes to the players. Anyways, he continues. Let me get over to Jeff Bennett, who is live for us there in New Jersey. It comes, Jeff, as all of this goes down. This is not new from the president. What's new is that this is the NFL preseason. He is picking up this culture war fight, even as there are some major policy issues that the president is dealing with. And a former White House insider, Omarosa, we talked about her on this program yesterday, is now alleging the president used racist, inflammatory language.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here, Hallie. And look, the first thing to know is that the NFL is back, and so too is the president's crusade against these player protests. So he was apparently reacting to what happened last night at a preseason game. He had a couple of players there on the field take a knee during the anthem. A few others raised their fists. But when the president tweets where he says, they wanted to show their outrage at something that most of them are unable to define, we should be clear that the players have been crystal clear from the start that they were not protesting the anthem. What they're demonstrating against, they say, is racial injustice and police shootings of unarmed Black men. So if you ask the question, why does the president keep returning to this issue? Well, people close to him tell me, and I'm sure you have this in your own reporting, that he views this as a political winner, whereas issues such as tax cuts, tariffs might not be as relevant and resonant for his base. This cultural issue certainly is. This is the president's view. So it's one of the reasons why he talks time and time again about immigration, and yes, about this issue of NFL protests. Take a look at what he said in the past about this.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now? He's fired.
All right. So that day in 2018, August 10th, was the last time that I watched football. That's me personally. The day that Donald Trump, the president of this government, called the people who were protesting against police brutality who looked like me, sons of bitches. He said, get them sons of bitches off the field, you fired. I said at that point right there, I will never support the NFL until we get this shit corrected as a race. I done missed what? That was 18. We in 2023. So I ain't watched football for 5 years and you niggas still supporting. We don't have standards as a group of people. We're slaves now. Our grandparents were not slaves. We were just forced to not be around each other, which is called segregation. We're slaves now. They told you that if you don't respect their flag that they whooped your ass with, lynched you, ran you out your towns, put your towns underwater, bombed your town, shut out Tulsa, Oklahoma, you still got people living today, can't be repaired from that. And if you still don't want to pledge allegiance to the flag that's been whooping your ass, get them sons of bitches off the field. And you niggas still watching sports. Anything you want to say on that, Chief Rico? You got to have a standard, man. We don't have standards. We just let people fuck all over us. And I'm going to try to clean my language up tonight, but I'm on one. I'm very animated. I'm kind of pissed off because it's like, when does the disrespect stop?
No, you're absolutely right, man. We got to have standards. I mean, like you said, this shit ain't brand new. I can speak for myself hearing this shit and be like, what the fuck? And then going on about the day. So yeah, at some point, we as a collective have to draw a line in the sand and say, the hell with all this shit. Again, why are we supporting something when we're clearly seeing we can't even get no damn support where the shit is really needed? Give a damn about no football, no basketball, give a damn about your, equality messages on the football fields or spray painted down roads. Who gives a fuck about the symbolism? Where are we written within this law? And it's nowhere, which means we have never been accounted for. So looking at it from that perspective, yeah, it's like, what the fuck are they doing? You niggas taking a knee, but in reality, for what?
Right.
Just be happy to be on the field. That's their perspective. And we have to come from the other side, be like, nah, fuck all this shit. All this shit
Just
is
walk
art.
away.
Walk away.
Just walk away. And I think the fact that we take the symbolism, we take the small tokens rather than something that's going to significantly change our position. We just our standards are just set extremely low. Very, very low. You're on mute.
Just to add on to what you just said, Chief Biko, basically what the European is saying is, man, I know, I know we gentrifying you and we killing you and we've been waging chemical warfare on you, AKA war on drugs. But nigga, that ain't got nothing to do with you getting out there entertaining me. Entertain me. Fuck the fact I'm killing you. Go entertain me. Get off your fucking knee, nigga. Right. And go get on that goddamn field. That's basically that's how I interpreted what Donald Trump said in 2018. And I said, I will never again. Not until we get some straightening. And here it is, 5 years later, I ain't watched basketball or
don't know
football.
What the hell going on, because
I was a diehard football fan, man. I'm telling you, I was a diehard football fan, bro. But that hit me a certain type of way, like, oh hell no, we got to be sons of bitches because we talking about being killed by the police.
You said it. You said it, and that's just. Again, now we talking about 5 years later.
Shit crazy.
It's affirmative action. And these colleges are still going to say the same thing. Nigga, give a fuck about if we allowing you niggas to be, if we cutting off your supply line to be doctors, lawyers. Nigga, get your ass out on that field and play my Alabama team. Nigga, get your ass on that basketball court and run up the score on these Kentucky niggas. Give a fuck about if your sister, who is unathletic, can go to this school to be a doctor. Fuck all that. Nigga, run out there and score 30 so I can make sure I keep my family fed.
There it is.
That's where
Can one of y'all share y'all screen for the last document with the steps to becoming a U.S. citizen? Because we're going to tie that in to what Donald Trump just said. And we got to see the whole play. We got to be able to fly above the chessboard and look at everything that's going on and understand why Donald Trump would come out and say that it's disrespect of our flag. So we can see here that there's 10 steps to naturalization. And we're on the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. And how people who look like us don't even educate us on this. All these immigrants are familiar with this. But yet we've never been through this process. So when we tell you the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment didn't apply to you, and niggas be looking at us like we crazy, now does it kind of make sense? Nobody in your family ever went through these steps to become a naturalized U.S. citizen. Can we scroll down to where it says where they have to take the oath after they've done these steps? Now, this is for all immigrants, and we're going to focus on the melanated immigrants for right now, the Africans and the Caribbean ones. Right there, step 8. If you open up step 8, I'm sorry, step 9. This is why Donald Trump came out and said that the prisoners of war on the land who never went through this process to be U.S. citizens, this is why he said, get them sons of bitches off the field. Because what every U.S. citizen does that comes from another landmass, after they follow the steps and go through the application process to become a U.S. citizen, they take an oath to what, people? they pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States government. That's why Donald Trump said, you're disrespecting us in front of the world, nigga, when you get on one knee talking about you protesting. What he should have did was been transparent and say, you niggas have every right to be on one knee because you niggas have never been through the process to be a US citizen. But since you're the only one that has not been through the process, everybody else has. We can deport them motherfuckers. Did you catch that? See, if anybody else get on one knee, they can deport their ass because you got to take a pledge of allegiance to that flag. So do you understand why these melanated immigrants ain't going to help us in this struggle? They don't want to lose that citizenship, y'all.
Yeah.
So, man, game over. Game over.
Yeah. They got something to lose and they going to fight tooth and nail to keep what they have.
Damn straight. Now, does it make sense why that Asian would say, yeah, affirmative action, yeah, that should be done away with. I personally look at myself as white. This is what this Asian is thinking as white, because I am happily to be accepted in the brown because I gave that oath of allegiance. Now, does it make sense? So yeah, at this point, y'all, I mean, it can't be broken down no more simpler. Chief Alligator Man.
And I think it's power in that. You know what I'm saying? The fact that they can't send us nowhere.
That
you know what I'm saying? So that is proof in itself that this is ours. Where you gonna send us? You're gonna have to fight.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
African. If we were African, won't you think that these motherfuckers would have deported us to some African?
Exactly.
Think, people. Think. Yet you got these Pan-African niggas wanting to say, yeah, bro, go back to the motherland. That is not our motherland. Fuck that shit. Yeah, that's cool if that's your mom and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's cool, but nah, our shit right here. So don't be trying to have me be adopted. Nah, I know who my mom is. I'm not finna argue with you about who the hell my parents are. What kind of stupid shit is that?
Right.
Like, come on, y'all.
This is probably the most important thing for anybody who is watching us, and the link is in the top of the chat for this document as well. It's never going to be a Pan-Africanist movement on this land because they will lose their citizenship. Don't never forget that, y'all. The game is up. They just took back affirmative action for school, y'all. Like, if this don't trigger you, I don't know what else to say. Like, basically 1964, Brown versus education, all that shit, bro, you can just throw all that shit in the air now. You've been replaced by the Asian. The Asian loving the fact the shit got overturned. It's the melanated immigrant that's trying to hide behind us. They're like, oh, damn, now we can't. You understand? It's time for us to step on the other side of the sidewalk and be like, look, we know what you got to lose. We got to put our life on the line to speak on this shit. African from Nigeria. If you're going to stand with us, we understand what you got to lose too. You may get deported, but guess what? You either rocking with us or you not. If you ain't rocking with us, then go over there and do your own fucking thing. But you got to stop being around us like it's all cool in the game.
Correct. It's like I just stated earlier. The reason why that Nigerian U.S. citizen was so up in arms about it is because she like, well, damn, I was banking on that racial question to meet, to make sure I get accepted into this shit. My family moved over here for this American dream. That was part of the goddamn play. So y'all gonna take a whole play that we've been running since 1968, again, since the whole Civil Rights Acts, that damn, we've been eating off that just to get to where we are now. So now I'm upset. This is what that Nigerian U.S. citizen is thinking. So again, as Chief Alligator stated, okay, we see you got some so-called skin in the game, but nah, we been here. Hell, this game has been played between us, the American, and this European for way too long. So pick a side.
And I'm gonna play the dumbest one on the bus right now. Can somebody tell me what made us a U.S. citizen? If all immigrants have to go through this process, what are we holding on to as our claim to fame to say we're US citizens when everybody else has to do 10 steps? That's just an honest question. And you know, talk to me like I'm explain it to me like you're talking to a third grader.
Gotcha.
I'm saying we never were.
It's just like this. When you say, as you a third grader, Ma, why are we US citizens? Because I told you so. Fuck no documents, because I told you so. You're a minor. Come on, y'all. You're a minor because I told you so. Don't be going off asking no silly questions because I told you so. Even though we have a whole process that we're showing of how you can become a US citizen, they tell us because I told you so. Oh, well, you got a birth certificate. That doesn't say US citizen, or that's not what this process. So, because you have a social security number. But that's not what this process is going through. You asking too many questions because we told you so.
It's just a random question that we have to ask because we've never been written into law through their Congress. They did do 3 civil rights acts in the 60s, but none of them say Negro, Black, colored or define what Negro, Black, colored is. And we've literally just this week watched the Asians leapfrog and get affirmative action removed. So it's like, where are we under this government? Are we not paying taxes without representation, y'all? Do we not have a Black congressional caucus, quote unquote, that is as silent right now? Just throwing some stuff out there. It's on you, Chief Biko. You can take the wheel. You want to take that quick break right quick?
Yes, sir. So we'll take a quick little break and we'll jump back into it. Again, it's a special episode, so we're going to go a little extended on this one. But yeah, y'all keep rocking with us, man. We're going to keep breaking this down. All right. Definitely appreciate everybody still rocking with us. Again, this is our 2-year anniversary of starting this channel. I know we spoke about it a little bit earlier. Again, shout out to everybody who has helped us. Big shout out to Copper Empress for allowing us on your platform. Big shout out to AB TV, Indigenous One, everyone who has helped us continue to get this information out there. We would still be pretty much talking to ourselves if it wasn't for you individuals, helping spread this knowledge, helping, let us touch people who are pretty much like-minded as well. So definitely all honor to those that, helped us continue to spread this message, get this information out here. This is week 1 of the 13-week fiscal program. So we are entering the 3rd fiscal quarter. Again, as we stated earlier, this is our anniversary for this show. And not only that, but also our anniversary in regards to pretty much how all 3 of us met. And shoot, I'll pretty much speak briefly on, what was going on at the time and how we even came together and how we even, coming up with this think tank and, really coming together to all be in alignment with this American history. So of course, everybody knows 2020 was a crazy time. One of the experiences that first time I seen, individuals that look like myself get on one accord, where it was like a movie, like people walking down the streets, people stopping cars, jumping out. Just to give a little insight of what I'm talking about, it was something that happened on July 4th. If you're here in Atlanta, you probably heard about this, but it was something that happened in Stone Mountain. It was a group of individuals saying, hey, we going shoot at Black people or kill Black people on 4th of July. It happened like in 2020 around that time. So there's a group that said, fuck that, we going to answer the call. If you shooting at, let's just say, I think the quote was like 6 o'clock, we shooting back at 6:01. So due to that, I was one to be out there and see, from my own eyes, like our people actually galvanize and come together And man, just to see that where it's like not only, you know, men and women, but older gentlemen, older women,
Yeah.
children, you know, saying, nah, this is what we need. Like I've never seen any preacher do that, any politician, but people who are willing to, you know, fight for our group, actually galvanize people and actually everybody come into like a formation and like just be on code without even actually speaking to everybody.
Speaking about it, right?
Yeah, without even speaking about it. That was the craziest thing. So seeing that and then, you know, happen to be able to visualize that again in Louisville was something crazy as well. So, you know, just seeing what the initial steps for us to take, even going back to, you know, our 12 steps, learning about yourself, even going back to the Maroon historical points, needing the warrior class, like it all started to make sense as I came together, at least personally within this group of like, damn, what I saw is like what we have as far as the blueprint. So I'll stop right there and let everybody else kind of talk about their own experience and how we, you know, we all pretty much came together as a like mind and go from there.
Yeah, like for me, again, 2 years, it has definitely been a positive journey. I've definitely learned a lot, you know, throughout this entire experience. Just the information from day one was pretty new to me. I've never read treaties. I never knew what the 1968 Indian Rights Act was, you know, Indian Rights Act was in writing, like reading it for myself. So most of this information that we've gone through is my first time ever diving into it the way that we have and getting a full understanding of how we got to this point where we are now. So it's definitely been a great journey. And like Chief Biko said, you know, in the beginning, we're literally just reading. That first year, we just came together on a weekly basis and just literally just we read the documents together and just broke them down. And then we decided to go to, you know, transfer everything to YouTube, which was definitely a major step because we had conversations if we wanted to do it, if we didn't want to do it, but we were all on the same page of moving forward and coming over to YouTube. And like he said, we was literally talking to ourselves just live on YouTube. And then we were given the opportunity to go to the other platforms, which was definitely great and a great experience. So definitely thank you to all who allowed us to come onto your platform. And as Chief Biko stated in regards to how we all met, it was an energy in 2020 that I think people who were of the same mindset and, you know, on the same energy level, we answered to a call, like he said, without any, we didn't have to talk about it. We just showed up. It was a certain group of people. We just showed up and we were ready for pretty much whatever was going to go down. And it was an energy that just kind of was just real active in 2020. So that's how we pretty much came together, and the energy has just continued. You know, I don't think our energy has really died in regards to where we met and how we came to be. So that's pretty much I have to say.
Yeah, 2020, it was a very medieval year. I've never experienced a year like that in my personal life. I can remember vividly when Ahmaud Arbery's murder got aired. And ironically, I was providing service for an active police officer in their home. And Buddy was animated. You know what I'm saying? He was like, man, you hear about that bullshit that happened? You know, and I'm there doing my thing, providing a service for him. And I said, nah, what you talking about? And he showed me the video, and he started getting into a little bit more detail about how most of us work for the Atlanta Police Department, but these outskirt police agencies are pretty much, you know, they still on that segregation type time with the mentality. And he was like, nah, man, we ain't letting this shit slide. Like, we ain't letting this shit slide. And for those that don't remember, when Ahmaud Arbery got killed, you know, I'll never be the same personally. A lot of men my age, a little bit older than me, and Chief Biko's age, I think one of our problems is we don't talk about the trauma that we've been dealing with since Trayvon Martin. We just stuff shit and act like everything's cool, seeing lynching after lynching after lynching after lynching. But Ahmaud Arbery for me was like the breaking point. Like, you shot this man on a Sunday morning, broad daylight, with a shotgun. And then to add more to the story, the district attorney of that county got on code with the retired sheriff and his son that killed Ahmaud Arbery, and she wasn't going to press charges against him. And then in addition to that, it was like 7 other district attorneys in the state of Georgia. Nobody wanted to press charges for that. The only reason they in jail or in prison right now is because the dumb motherfucker who was following in the car, he uploaded this shit on Facebook. We really got to think about that. But when I saw that, I made a promise to myself, I'm open carrying for the rest of my life. I will not be Ahmaud Arbery. I will not be running around in any city that I live in for my life to get shot with a shotgun in broad daylight. Nah, it's going to be fastest man on the draw. And that's just where I'm at with it. I ain't never ran from no European in my life. I ain't never had no European get sideways with me in my life. And I damn sure ain't finna start now at middle age in life. So for those that forgot, in 2020, they dropped all those murders in May of 2020. They dropped Ahmaud Arbery, you had George Floyd, and you had Breonna Taylor. And the world erupted. And everybody, that energy took different people different ways. Some people decided to go protest. You know, people were pulling down statues, you know, different things like that. And, you know, when I heard that it was going to be a group of individuals that was going to go to the headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan, which is Stone Mountain in Atlanta, Georgia, you know what I'm saying? I understood historically exactly what that meant. You know what I'm saying? Coming to your front door, asking for all the fire and the smoke. So, you know, to share, here's what sticks out to me on July 4th, 2020. To see random people pulling their cars over on the side of the road. I'm talking about just imagine people doing 55 and just pulling over on the side of the road, grabbing their kids out and just getting in formation. But like, the energy was crazy. The energy was crazy. Now I know the internet is never going to really, how would they talk about it? They don't really know. But if I'm gonna be honest, man, that energy was crazy, man. Just to be around that many brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? All on code, all strapped up, and everybody, like everybody said previously, it didn't have to be said. Everybody knew who the enemy was that day, you know, and how nobody came out, you know, so that showed that group of people something, that when we stand up and we say, let's get it in, you know what I'm saying? Like, we tired of talking.
With
let's
no
get
questions asked.
you know,
Just ready.
Ain't even nothing to speak about, just on site shit.
And, you know, for Louisville, you know, that was a vibe too, because what people don't understand is, or what people take for granted is, these people were willing to be a service for you. These people in different states, and people all came to Louisville, Kentucky, and people had been protesting for 100 days straight in Louisville. Y'all forget that? When Breonna Taylor got killed, the citizens were protesting for 100 straight days trying to get murder charges filed. So when the warlords showed up, you know, them people knew they weren't going to jail that day.
Yeah.
It was a vibe. You know, the people in Louisville were so afraid of the police. And then when people came there and they knew them people were there that had their back, man, to see them people turn up and start cussing out the police and, you know, fuck y'all, and y'all can't do shit now, and all of that, and the local crackheads and the bums, everybody, they bringing waters and everybody chipping in. It was a camaraderie that I've never seen in my life.
Right.
You know, so if anything,
and I think
man,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think one thing too, going back to what we were saying earlier in regards to what they have to lose and us having to just stand our ground and know that it's ours, and we should fight for it and fight for things, in response to what has been done to us. I think when people showed up in Stone Mountain, we had no clue what was going to take place. You know what I'm saying? So that showed the bravery and the fact that we were, willing to put our life on the line for whatever we were going to be faced with. We were just responding to a call, and nothing else mattered at that point.
Yep. And again, the internet can be real and it can be fake. They were putting so much lies out there, people who look like us, about, I'm gonna say it like this. You got to remember, that was in the middle of a pandemic. That was a lockdown. So the people that were riding for the people in the middle of that goddamn pandemic had resources to get to A to B. You see what I'm saying? Most people were locked in the house around that time. Now, people were protesting every day. Like I said, different people, different strokes, different folks. But, just the disrespect from our own people about having a warrior class, a group of people that's willing to say we here to protect first law of nature, which is self-preservation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be killing us and then threatening us. And, we got kids, we got family members. Like, what the fuck y'all think y'all really got going on? Like, y'all really think y'all the only ones that's been in the military? Y'all really think y'all the only ones that can shoot? Y'all really think y'all the only ones that's with the shits? Like, that's kind of where we are right now. So that was a big disappointment to see people who look like us, not support what they were seeing, or assuming that it wasn't real when it was real. You know what I'm saying? So here we are now, 3 years later, and look at what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about affirmative action in education is no more, and shout out to the old heads, the old people, man, the 80-year-olds in wheelchairs. People were coming out there like, man, I hadn't seen this since the Panthers. And, it was just a great, I don't think words can describe it, but we all have to get on that militia mindset. I know a lot of us don't want to deal with that reality, man, but no other group of people on planet Earth allows other groups of people to kill their own and march around in circles and protest. The shit's backwards. It's retarded. It don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of us, I'm speaking for myself and everybody on this channel, we're not bears. We're not bullies. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never had nobody take shit from me in life. Like, ain't nobody took my bike growing up. Ain't nobody, it's like, how are we letting people take our lives? And we just cool with that shit. I really don't understand what the fuck is going on. Anybody else want to say something?
Yeah, I'll say something on that. Like you said, just the lack of support or questioning of, like you said, the authenticity of it was eye-opening to me personally. Like you said, hearing a lot of excuses, oh, y'all gonna get all of us killed, as if we ain't getting shot and killed on camera every damn day. It felt like at that point, especially in 2020, was crazy to me. Like, to hear the excuses that were being made, and from a lot of these same so-called scholars or entertainers, or these people that had these major platforms that could help create something even bigger than what we were able to witness, was eye-opening to me, especially as a younger man. Like, damn, you really pussy. Thinking of these people who are all of this talk on the internet, or when it comes to our group, but when it comes to actual people, real life men and women saying, nah, okay, we sick of all the shit. We appreciate what you did as far as giving us that info, but now it's trying to put some shit into action. Now let's actually be practical. Let's apply this shit that you've been talking about. And to see the the feedback that was gotten or given was mind-boggling, you know. So that was one thing for me where it's like, damn, y'all supposed to be the OGs. Y'all supposed to be the people I'm looking up to that was saying, oh yeah, that shit would have never happened to us. Well, it's happening. And you make excuses. So that was one thing that really kind of stood out to me. But yeah, it was definitely a different energy, different vibe. And be honest with you, I think we have to get that back. And when I say we have to get that back, as far as it's going to have to be the same shit that happened. So it's going to have to be multiple killings within a week, multiple shit going down within a weekly time basis. It's going to have to get medieval for our group to, again, get to that point, which it shouldn't have to be. But let's just deal with the reality, deal with the facts. It's going to have to be. Because what's going on with just this affirmative action, niggas quiet as a mouse. So
yeah, it is what it is. You kind of beat it around the bush, not wanting to call out names, but like the Tariq Nasheeds of the world, you know, the people who had large platforms during that time, you know, again, we're talking about FBI Cointelpro. We're finna go right into it right now. So we understand, man. I mean, look, anybody that's been rocking with us on this channel, we're reading FBI Cointel at this point. We know Martin Luther King got assassinated. We know the FBI was tracking him up until the second that he hit the ground because they got that in their notes. We know that they were falsely locking up Black Panthers. We know that they had Malcolm X killed. So at this point, we're in slavery now because you're afraid to stand up. So like, I know I'm gonna die one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've known that for years. Like, when I planned my death and got life insurance and everything squared away, like, there's a process that you go through as a human being when you plan, you know, for that moment. And I think the benefit of planning your death is now it's time to live your life. And I think a lot of us have not planned when we transition off this plane. And so you live in fear. And how can I say we living in fear? Because they're violating the first law of nature against our group of people and we have nothing to say. So if they can kill you and you have nothing to say, then affirmative action, you're not gonna say nothing. Reintroducing Jim Crow, you won't say nothing. Gentrification, you won't say nothing. Taking Martin Luther King history out of the state of Georgia's history curriculum last year, you won't say nothing. It won't stop. So the only thing that I would say to the people, man, is we're using this exactly what it's for. It's a platform. It's a platform, and we're coming with government documents showing what they've done to our group of people. And, you know, I'm speaking for me. I'm pulling the cards of the men. You either gonna protect the women and the kids or you're not, bro. Like at some point, you know what I'm saying? You can run your mouth up to a point, but at some point, bro, we are the protectors, whether you want to deal with natural law or not. We are the lions. We're supposed to be protecting the pride. Our cubs are getting picked off randomly. Our lioness are getting picked off randomly. And all we doing is walking around, grown ass lions. We just walking around in the jungle in a circle. You don't think other animals, you don't think the panthers, you don't think all them other predator animals are looking at us like, yeah, we need to get them off this plane because they out of sync with the way things work. And that's all we kind of saying is we're just showing you intellectually what time it is. At some point, it's going to be up to the men. The men going to have to stand up. The women will support us. No doubt the women will support us. But if the men don't stand up and protect the woman and the kid, then, bruh, this is where we at right now. Affirmative action got took, bro. As soon as that shit left the news cycle, niggas ain't gonna talk about it. Niggas is not gonna organize privately to keep the energy going. Like, nah, we just ain't gonna let y'all just make a decision in your fake ass court and act like everything cool. You understand what I'm saying? We got a congressional issue with this government. Fuck what the opinions are and what the judges say. Fuck what the president talking about. Your procedure says Congress makes law. We need to be recognized so that we can start this reparation process. That's the last thing I'm gonna say on this. Stop playing yourself, people. We're not gonna be repaired as a group of people unless we all come to a consensus of what are we gonna be called. And because we've been warred against so long, everybody can't go back and find out where they family from. So how about we just start with, there's only one American. So you got us and you got US citizens. I'm gonna stop right there.
Anything, Chief Bob?
No, I'm in agreement with both of you guys. I think we covered most of it. Can start, you know where we stopped at last week. We stopped on page 15.
Page 15. Okay, perfect. Before we jump into the Cointelpro, we always have to make sure we highlight one of the ancestors who were able to invent industries. Again, these industries that we no longer have control over, but we need, as Chief Alligator alluded to, within this reparations packet or restitution package that we need to make sure is being talked about, discussed, and being actioned on. So I'm gonna share my screen and we'll get into it. So for this week's American inventor, we have William Richardson. Wasn't able to find too much on his background. I'll definitely be look further into it. But we have William Richardson, and he is the inventor of the child's carriage. So basically the reverse carriage or stroller. This was applied for on December 27th, 1888. The application was granted, June 18th, 1889. And that patent number is US 405600A. And the inventor is William Richardson. And I'll just blow up this here. Move this out the way.
So basically what you're telling us is nobody had carriages before the American invented it in 1888. Is that correct? So
Correct.
All of women on planet Earth that walk around with carriages for their baby now, they need to be bowing down to us. Here's one more invention that they need to be putting respect on our name, correct?
Correct. And this would basically be the reverse carriage. So as you can see here within this graph, we have it where you're pushing it almost as a buggy style, baby facing outward. But if we look down here, it's showing basically how it can be reversed. So he was the one to credited for that. So now, as you see a lot of strollers, you don't see too many, or you may see some that are facing outwards, but he was able to make a device where it's like, okay, interchangeable. You have it facing the mother or the father or whoever was actually pushing this carriage, or it could be facing outward to the direction in which they were going. And this was invented by, again, William H. Richardson. And that is the American inventor for this week. And next, I'll go ahead and share my screen for you, Chief Quietwater, for the legal definitions and maroon historical points.
Okay, legal definitions. Number 1, American, indigenous to America. Number 2, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Number 3, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. Number 4, prisoner of war, a person, usually a soldier, who is captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Number 5, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. Number 6, education, an enlightening experience. Number 7, recovery, a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength, the action of or process of regaining possession of something stolen or lost. All right, the maroon historical point was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Number 2, providing unity and strong defense came first. Number 3, maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Number 4, maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks and thick grass. And number 5, maroons knew their European enemies' language and, maroons knew their Europeans' enemies' language, defenses, and plans.
All right, so without further ado, we'll jump back into the Cointelpro documents. And I think as he stated earlier, Chief Quietwater, I think we left off on page 15. Let me pull that up. All right, how does it look for everybody? Is it viewable?
Yeah.
Screen up a little bit. So I'll jump us off for this week. So we have the Hoover documents and the left. The detail that sticks most fiercely in my mind from Kirk Sales, SDS, Random House 1973, 752, PP $15, is that in 1968, there were 2,000 full-time undercover agents operating inside the New Left. My experience around SDS and the anti-war movement made me doubt there would have been even 20. And among the full-time regulars of SDS, there certainly were not 200. So I tended to doubt the 2,000 figure. Maybe it was only another police dropped pseudo fact meant to divide the people. Let me see this. Can't see what that says. Stung and doubts persisted. Police identification of the East Coast Black Panther Party is known to have been extensive and profound. At a certain moment in 1968 and 1970, the New York BPP chapter was altogether a creature of the NYPD's Red Squad under Finnegan Flanagan, whose partners Qualified and Ulowitz matriculated to creep, I believe. This and similar, if not coordinated police, activity against Black liberationists in Los Angeles and Chicago alone make the 2,000 figure seem less immodest, more proportionate when there was not so much to be thrown at the radical Blacks, what might have been around for throwing at the radical whites. Through summer and fall, just past, I labored at an essay review of Sale's book centered on the unconscionable theme that the New Left was destroyed much less by its own internal failings and self-contradictions than by the concerted police repression. I quote from its opening passage.
All right, before you go any further, go back to that previous paragraph, because they just admitted right here, right there, stop. It says that the Black Panther Party was altogether a creature of the NYPD's Red Squad. So they're telling you that the Black Panthers that were in New York, that was the police. Read it again, highlight it. It's telling you right there, at a certain moment in 1969 and 1970, the New York Black Panther chapter was altogether a creature of the NYPD's Red Squad. So they're telling you that they had police officers acting like Black Panthers. So this is what we're dealing with, you know. So again, we're just looking back at what our uncles were going through and our aunts were going through, understanding our history so we can understand why we're getting affirmative action reversed and why we're being benign and neglected. It's an inside job. It's just like Antifa. They just create a made up group during 2020 and just put them out there, and that's going to suck the energy off of the lynching that the world just saw of George Floyd. It's the same play.
Correct. Everyone sees that the SDS committed suicide and that Weatherman was the act. But what if SDS was being murdered at the same time, for example, by the Nixon state now? Would that count for anything? Is the question worth coming back to in the light of Watergate lessons about Nixon's methods? The question of the cause of SDS's death at the moment, not sure what that says, anti-war movement was about to explode. The piece was rejected. The 4-page rejection note gave me to think it was rejected because this was its chosen theme. Instead of 24 other things, I filed it away in the rejected section and decided to forget the unconscionable theme. Maybe I was being too paranoid. Then 2 weeks ago, NBC, TV's Carl Stern, having long before sued to obtain them under the Freedom of Information Act, was given copies of till then secret FBI papers disclosing that the late Hoover ordered an all-out FBI campaign to destroy the New Left. Savor.
Okay. Who's the New Left, bro? Who's the New Left?
Shoot, referring to what, the Black Panther Party?
Correct.
Right.
We got to get that. That's the head of the FBI basically saying destroy. Now, you've already gotten 3 civil rights acts, never defined, never specified in writing. You're probably pissed off those that were adults during that time period. You're probably pissed off that that just happened, right? King is dead, you know, maybe only a couple of months. And here you got the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the leader of it, saying, kill any niggas that want to organize and try to keep this civil rights movement going. We got to get that. We got to understand that.
Savour the language of Hoover's memos of May 10th, 1968, and recall that it is written a month after King's death, and with the Paris May days in the background. See if there's anything else on this page. Continue here. Leftist war on FBI. American leftists, perhaps convinced that the control of the nation's future is within their grasp, have declared war on the once powerful guard against subversion, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Ironically, the radicals are putting the FBI on the defensive for its role of investigating and exposure during the late 1960s against the new left subversion of universities and other institutions. That subversion included rioting, bombing, arson, kidnapping, homicide, beatings, wholesale destruction of property, disruption of education, promotion of drug use, and advocacy of guerrilla warfare and revolution.
All right, what is that telling us? We don't want to, I mean, this is, you're reading the FBI saying that they're warring against the Black Panthers. What? We really got to get this. So if you think you're not a prisoner of war, we're reading the FBI document. They're admitting through the Freedom of Information Act what was going on in the 1960s. The radicals are the Black Panthers. Ironically, the radicals are putting the FBI on the defensive for its role of investigation and exposure during the late 1960s. So our people were pushing up on the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
And university.
So again, the fact that we were always fighting, we've been fighting. It's not like we were just submissive and just taking whatever it was. We were always fighting.
Correct.
And it's sad because you're not going to be told this in school. You don't have any people who look like us who really go into detail about what was going on with those people at the time. But they saw the bullshit, just like we're seeing the bullshit with affirmative action being overturned this week. Our uncles and aunts saw the bullshit. But here's the document says it's a leftist war on the FBI. They're trying to play victim while we're still being benign and neglected. The FBI is trying to take the position that we don't know why they're being radical. You see how they like to play dumb?
As if they did not just admit earlier within this document, if you check out a couple of videos beforehand, that they were the ones burglarizing, actually going in the home stealing shit, let alone infiltrating, as we just saw within the last page, creating a whole chapter under the disguise of the Black Panther Party, a whole chapter that was pretty much members were New York police officers. But as you just stated, like you stated, Chief Alligator, playing victim. I'll continue here. One radical group represented by American Civil Liberties Union lawyers is suing in federal court, charging its members civil rights were violated during the secret 3-year project ordered by the late FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover to expose, disrupt, and otherwise neutralize new left groups and individuals who spout revolution and unlawfully challenge society to obtain their demands.
So
Hoover
what is that telling you, man?
Straight up war, killing and neutralizing the leaders, killing and neutralizing any movement that we deem is unlawful to our government.
You just got civil rights in the late 1960s. Now you got a lawyer that's going to federal court saying, hey, you're violating their civil rights because you motherfuckers have been secretly investigating them for 3 years. And their whole thing is to neutralize anybody who spouted revolution. So they're pissed off that you want desegregation ended. They're pissed off that you got a Voting Rights Act. They're pissed off that you got a Housing Rights Act in 1968. So the FBI is saying anybody who's saying that they want more after we've already just ended desegregation, gave you niggas the right to vote, and now we're giving you a housing bill. Yeah, we finna put you up on the investigation. If that ain't war, what else is it?
Plain and simple, plain as day. Let me see, we have Hoover issued his directive in May of 1968 at a time of massive national disorders, fomented by a network of communists, socialists, Marxists, and other radical extremist organizations. These included the Communist Party USA, the Students for a Democratic Society, various anti-war groups, and the Socialist Scholars Conference, with agents on university campuses from coast to coast. The Socialist Scholars Conference, organized in 1965, outlined its central objectives in a position paper issued June 4th, 1970, at first a permanent social revolution, and next seizure of state power.
Now, hold on, before you, they just told you in that first sentence that Hoover issued his directive in May of 1968. When was Martin Luther King assassinated by the FBI?
April 4th, same year.
And then they play dumb and say, oh, it's a massive national disorder. You think you just assassinated Martin Luther King.
Correct. Again, playing victim. And as you see, trying to list off these different organizations as if this was the reasons to play victim. But again, just benign and neglecting the total fact that you just killed Martin Luther King a month earlier.
And this also shows that they had plays already in place. I mean, they're just really just activating their plan.
Correct.
You know, as time goes on, they had things already in place for all of this stuff.
Right.
And didn't we just see this in 2020 with Black Lives Matter?
I say these are like Antifa organizations.
Right. We just saw where we wanted the police defunded, and they planted agents through Black Lives Matter, raised millions of dollars. And how many of those families got taken care of financially that got a loved one lost? I'm just using common sense questions. Like, you would think that at least with the money that Black Lives Matter raised, you would think Tamir Rice's family would be able to get on the news and say, now, Black Lives Matter ain't perfect, but now they did pay off my house. They paid off my lawyer fees. They paid my car note. Why is it that everybody that got killed, so they make all this money off of the death of us, but you can't find not one family that says, now, they paid my lawyer fees, or they took care of me financially? So
they just took the big check from the crooked attorneys, basically, that was representing them, like Ben Crump and all of these the people who just appear when one of our people get killed, instead of helping to right putting forth effort in to be on the counterpart of that and helping to get these laws passed to protect us, or to basically identify us of who we need to be referred to.
And we don't ask the hard questions, just the questions we just posed. We don't ask like, okay, are the families of the victims, have they been taken care of financially by Black Lives Matter?
Right.
They just come out on the news and say, oh, they're going to dissolve the entity and the millions of dollars that were raised, you niggas didn't get nothing specific for it, so carry on.
Right.
And we're cool with that. That's the problem. We're okay with that. Chief Biko, okay.
I'll continue. Let me see here. The New Left strategy, as described by Alice Widener, In her brilliant study of socialist subversion, Teachers of Destruction had 4 chief aims. 1, destroying the U.S. system of justice by eliminating impartiality and substituting socialist bias in our courts. 2, disrupting domestic tranquility by aggravating discontent over real and imagined grievances and by instigating riots and demonstrations calculated to lead to violence. 3, dismantling our military defense system by undermining the morale and might of our armed forces. 4, wrecking and productive capacity of our great industries, which make weapons for our defense and consumer goods for our prosperity and well-being. Again, straight excuses, but it also highlights what we just saw in 2020 with Antifa. Did we not have stories or news, frontline news reporting of bricks just being laid in random spots next to buildings with nothing but glass? So as Chief Quietwater alluded to earlier, we see the play. I mean, it's the same damn play. All they doing is switching up the team names, but it's the same play when you talk about everything that she just listed as far as teachers of destruction. Who taught them, or who taught these teachers of destruction? This government, because they've been doing the same shit to our group since they landed on this land. And I'll let you all kind of build from that.
Yeah, look at number 2 in what you just read, where it says disrupting domestic tranquility by aggravating discontent over real and imagined grievances and by instigating riots and demonstrations calculated to lead to violence. Here again, we have to understand their position. They're bringing their people over from Europe to live a new life on foreign land. The American is in the middle of a civil rights era, and Martin Luther King is the most recent casualty at this point. In her study, she's saying that the domestic tranquility is being stopped. In other words, you niggas are messing up the natural order of things. How do we get you niggas to calm back down? But you just killed King. You just gave the right to vote. You just ended segregation. So you can see
the same thing. 2020.
You can see the military occupation. It's obvious that you're being treated like a prisoner because they're getting frustrated that you're protesting. They've killed King. It ain't, the dirt ain't even when you go to the graveyard, you still got the big mound of dirt.
Shit ain't even hard yet, bro.
It ain't even hard yet. And y'all already saying, okay, you've had enough time to grieve. Y'all need to shut the fuck up and go. Let's get back to tranquility and peace.
Same thing with George Floyd. You know, didn't they pass a bill where you couldn't protest? And I mean, you know, it's the same play in every situation is being played on us, and we just continue to just go with the flow. It doesn't change. Nothing changes.
Correct. I'm going to say it's worse now because of what Chief Quietwater just said. Now you got states saying that you can't protest. So what happens when the next group of killings happen in a city? It's almost like now we're scared to protest because certain states in the South have said, hey, you can run a motherfucker over with a car if they want to go out there and block the highway. So you can see that we're prisoners because they're making laws, because what they're saying to us, if I give it to you in street terms, is when we kill you, nigga, shut the fuck up and stay in your house.
Correct. And who's the group that's not protected? You just read that the Asians got protection, so they're not running over Asians if they protest.
Exactly.
Not too long ago, they just had a bunch of Hispanics shut down the highway. They wasn't getting ran over. So what group is the one that, again, is not protected, and what group is going to be the most affected by the ruling of this affirmative action? So like you stated, Chief Quietwater, it's the same thing, except they're just taking shit back that they once gave after these 1960s. After these 1960 Civil Rights Acts, now is basically being reversed. So we're starting with, you know, what it is, desegregation. We're not going to call it that right now. We're just going to basically hold up this affirmative action. Let's get the temperature. Let's check the pulse of the people, see if they trip. They probably not, because we've been killing them since shit forever. They didn't do shit after, you know, 2020. So let's just, you know, see what they'll do with this. And then we'll really start to make shit come alive by saying, yeah, we're going back to segregation and pretty much reversing all of this. So that's what it is pretty much seems like it's leading to from my perspective. I'll continue here on this paragraph. Also on the New Left agenda, Mrs. Widener wrote 3 years ago, long before the Watergate episode and its overblown sequels, were plans to foment extreme domestic crisis and to force the abdication of President Richard M. Nixon. Meanwhile, the promotion of drug addiction, anti-patriotism, pornography, sexual deviation, irresponsible behavior patterns, and rejection of sound values features on the New Left's cultural revolution continue to do their damage. For reasons—
Stop right there. Stop, bro. We're there right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're there right now. It started in 1968. The promotion of addiction, anti-patriotism, pornography, sexual deviation, irresponsible behavior patterns, and rejection of sound values. We're there now.
Yeah.
So isn't it ironic that right when this pandemic happens, they start legalizing weed for the youth? See, because if you alter your mind, you're not going to be here on Sunday night with us reading documents about what happened to us. You understand what I'm saying? It's like they want, see, you're in a war. So how do I beat the men of your group? Let them get high. Let them
Psychological.
Yeah, let them get high and let them fuck each other in the ass. I'm keeping it a buck. I mean, you ain't got to kill them. They're going to kill it. Let me say this. Isn't it interesting that with the gay movement that nobody talks about HIV? Like, you notice how they promote the men fucking men, but they don't never talk about the fact that you're probably going to die from HIV. Y'all ain't never think about that? We're old enough, Chief Quietwater. We remember when AIDS came out.
Right.
That was a big thing.
It's just not talked about now. It's just suppressed.
But they still promoting the homosexuality as if HIV is no longer in society.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already forecasting that while we make this legal and make it, and isn't it ironic that the gay capital on this land is in quote unquote one of the most melanated cities, which is Atlanta? Y'all don't think, and it's where the headquarters of the Center of Disease and Control is? Isn't that ironic that where the headquarters of Center and Disease and Control, this is the gay capital in North America? Where do we think these men are going to be 20 years from now that practice that lifestyle? Those of us that were living in the 80s when HIV came out. Don't you think a lot of these kids and don't you think a lot of these men and women that are going both ways and playing, don't you think HIV is running around in that community? I'm just throwing stuff at the wall because it's like,
you ain't throwing stuff at the wall. You keeping it straight a buck, man. You keeping it straight a buck. Because, I mean, what she just listed out, like you stated, is exactly what we dealing with today, verbatim.
You got more youth right now worried about homosexuality, what they do in the bed, than about what we're talking about tonight.
Right.
How did we get here? You got people of our family that are more focused on their sexuality than what happened to their grandparents and their parents. Like, they don't care about their history. They feel they're protected because they're a part of this fabricated class, which is the new gay group. So they would be number 3 under this government right now, right? You got the European, then you got the Asian, and then you got the European gay. And for some reason, our people think that they're going to be protected because they're in that class.
Not at all. Not at all. You just highlighted some coincidences in regards to where is the now quote unquote gay capital underneath this government? Atlanta. Where's the CDC? Atlanta. Where is the birthplace of civil rights? Atlanta. So it's not a coincidence, people. As Chief Water stated, this is strategy. And as we see, they think they have a lot of foresight. They plan this shit out. So yeah, they'll make it seem, or they'll have a writer say, yeah, this is what, is trying to happen. And they're seeing it as well. Cause like, okay, yeah, promotion of drug addiction, anti-patriotism, so forth, so on. But again, which group will this affect the most?
And see, I'm not old enough, but I am old enough. Think about the 70s. Okay, so if you're probably in your 50s, you remember the Black sexploitation movies, your Dolomites and the whole pimp era. That's where Snoop Dogg gets his whole swag from. Like they're telling you in this FBI file, that's that era. They're gonna start promoting the pimping and the hoeing and the cocaine use. This is it. You're looking. Make that cool.
Definitely just proceeded to just get way out of hand.
Part of the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the agenda. And it's going to hurt the class that is not, hell, fuck being protected, the class that is not even acknowledged.
Right.
Our group, when it's not been defined.
And you don't see any other group of people that have those type. You don't see Asians with sexual exploitation movies.
Hell no.
You don't see the Asian. And I said this last week, why is it? And let's think about this for a second. There was only one rapper in the 90s that was a female that was very sexually explicit, and that was Lil' Kim. Yes. Right. MC Light, everybody before Lil' Kim was a young lady, Roxanne Shante. Mm-hmm. Now it's like you have to be Lil' Kim now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like every woman, you have to be damn near butt naked and show your ass to the world. Mm-hmm. So what used to be a niche where only one, first it was Lil' Kim, then it was Trina, you know what I'm saying? Foxy Brown wasn't really, she kind of straddled the fence, and Eve, but now it's like, that's the starter kit. If you're going to be a rapper, like you got to be damn near naked and you're going to have to show your ass every time we put you in front of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So we're living this shit in real time. Exactly what she stated as being a cultural revolution.
Can you name one female artist that doesn't have to be damn near naked? I'm being dead ass serious right now. I'm just thinking.
I mean, that's pretty much that is mainstream.
I'd say that's mainstream
right now. Yeah, that's mainstream. That's not even a one-off of, that's mainstream.
It's harder to name, like you said, one. Only one, and like you said, Chief Quietwater, I don't think she's mainstream, would be from Atlanta, I think Amaretta.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't blown up like the Lottos, and
right.
See how they dress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How they put themselves out there, okay, I see why. Because she raps just as good, if not better.
Right.
She's not being pushed to the forefront because of this is what we're promoting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not judging it.
And even the content, the content of what's being put out there, like it says promotion of drug addiction. Mm-hmm. What do most, rappers these days talk about? Or the pills, the syrup, all of that stuff.
Irresponsible patterns, reaction,
going to jail,
values, like
being arrested, and
So let me clean it up because I'm not going to be hypocritical. My generation started listening to this type of music. Like I said, Lil' Kim came out in the
Right.
early. However, Lil' Kim, you had to buy that CD. That wasn't on mainstream radio in the 90s.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You had to go buy Biggie Small CD to hear Lil' Kim. And then Lil' Kim started doing what I'm saying now is it was a one-off thing if a chick was a stripper
Right.
that you went to high school with or you was in college with or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Now it's accepted and it's normal. It's like it's become such a fad. And the only reason I'm saying this is because put yourself, if you were not an American male, what if you were Jamaican or Nigerian? If all the image you see is of our woman's ass, then you're going to treat every woman like a hoe. It wasn't like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like we're watching the digression, not only of our women, but of the men.
Correct.
You know, you had to buy Spice One, you had to buy Ice Cube's CD. You know, you weren't hearing that on mainstream. Now the only thing you hear on mainstream is what they calling gang. I guess if you want to use the word gangster rap. So I'm just saying, what was taboo 20 years ago was not normal.
Yeah.
Correct. See, I'm gonna try to finish off this page here. For reasons as yet not made public, Hoover terminated the FBI's New Left operation and other counterintelligence operations against the Communist Party and other extremist groups in April of 1971. Radicals who were subjects of the FBI's campaign against unlawful revolutionary activities aimed at U.S. institutions are now running to seek the protection of institutions that were, and beyond doubt still are, targeted for destruction, namely the courts and Constitution itself. Why, they ask, was the FBI ordered to watch them and counter their plots? Most Americans wonder why the FBI was ordered to stop.
We can stop right there. That's a powerful sentence.
Right.
So the European, not American, see, you see how he tries to trade places with us?
Right.
So most Europeans wonder why the FBI stopped the Cointel. In other words, they were sick of niggas getting rights too.
And not only that, they were sick of this shit that she described as well. Why did you stop?
Right.
What's the end goal? This is again the European wondering. So yeah, this is this explains exactly where we are today, man. This explains exactly where we are today. I think we can kind of come up with, theories on why they stopped. We only needed 3 years to make sure this shit would trickle down into 50 years and longer of exactly what we are describing what happened, which is, these objectives here. Yeah, so.
What page is this? 17. Okay.
So shoot, any last thoughts on that? Because no, that was definitely key, like you said, you highlighted there. But just in regards to what we went over today.
Yeah, definitely. I just think that we just have to open up our eyes and understand that it's the same play. And if we don't wake up and can just see this, somebody's watching this video and just can't see how through all the documents that we've read from the beginning up until now, it's the same narrative, just different backstories, I guess you could say, but same thing they're putting their plays. And it's just how we got to where we are now, why we're stuck.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say, man, everybody who may or may not be listening to this or may catch it later, man, it's a celebration today. Again, we accomplished a goal. We hope that our group can start having goals set and that we can show the discipline and walk them down. The academic class of our group, you got your ego burst earlier this week, and it's time for all of us to come together privately, offline, and we need to come up in think tanks and we need to set short-term goals of what we're going to do collectively around North America. And I'm of the mindset of if it's not broke, don't fix it. Do what the people in Selma, Alabama did, which got the civil rights movement started. Stop supporting these people that are leeching off of us. Boycott. We can pick something to boycott. We can start with the small businesses that are right in our community that have immigrants that do not hire our kids. They generate millions of dollars on an annual basis from us, give you their ass to kiss with horrible customer service, hurry up and buy. If you want to see the power we have collectively, let's sit down. Sit down in order to come up. We say on this. We say on this. I'm chopping up.
Am I the only one? Are you hearing that, Chibico?
No, he good.
Oh, okay.
We're saying for 13 weeks. That's what we're saying over here, one fiscal quarter. If you want to see the power you got, this is the first week of the third fiscal quarter. Imagine if we just stopped supporting certain things for 90 days, where we would be. How much world attention would we get? How much can be moved as far as getting ourselves specifically defined and starting to get these things? We can't keep doing what we're doing and thinking things are going to change. As long as we keep going out, spending what we don't have, keep patronizing people and patronizing groups that's giving us their ass to kiss, nothing's going to change. But if we sit down and teach people how to treat us, we've given you 104 inventions, different inventions in 2 years. We are the gods. I'm of the mindset that the only way we're really going to know the power we have is if we stop supporting certain things. Let's start within our local communities. You can find a gas station that you can go to that hires your people and get your gas and buy whatever it is else that you get on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis. Why do you want to keep supporting that gas station that nobody speaks English and that gas station hires nobody who looks like you and they looking at you when you go in there to buy? Well, why keep doing that? Why are we subjecting ourselves to that? You know, women, what if you just said, you know what, I'm not going to get my hair and nails done at the Asian nail salon for the next 90 days. I'm going to find me a sister to do hair and nails. Since you don't own that industry anyway, is your hair care products. I mean, just little simple stuff like that. Like we all can we're going to have to endure some pain like they did in Selma, Alabama, when they decided to walk for a year. So it's our turn. How much pain do we want to go through to get some change, or do we want to think that everything's gonna stay the same? That's where I'm at with it.
You said, let's just be honest. Is that even pain? Like you said, you got people walking to work. Who knows how far it is versus just saying, okay, I'm just not going to get my nails done or hair done at, at Lee's shop. Or I'm just not going to frequent, Akbar's corner store. Like, is that really pain? So again, it just starts with the individual. Like you said, starts with the local businesses. Again, they aren't frequenting our shops. You don't see any Chinese people coming into soul food restaurants. I know that for sure. So again, we see what their children think in the video we just played earlier. Give a fuck that. The affirmative action didn't mean anything to me, so why would I care about that? Yet we're frequenting their mothers and fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers, stores because we want some, shrimp fried rice. So yeah, at certain points we have to have a standard amongst ourselves. And I mean, I don't think it's a hard ask for us to do. Again, 13 weeks, and let's just see what comes of it. Again, starting in your own individual neighborhood, saying, yeah, we're no longer going to, patronize these locations, and just go from there. And let's see what type of changes can be had from that. And then just go from
anybody any explanation for what we're doing, because if we can do it, it's just like working out. The first week gonna be hard as hell because you're talking about breaking a habit.
Right.
But by the time you get to the third week, the fourth week, you'll be surprised. People are going to be asking, what's going on with the nigga? What are they doing? Well, don't worry about it. You know, make them come to us and watch them fall. It's like we'll do it to our own. We'll spin the block. We'll do all kind of medieval stuff to our own people. But why don't we just stop supporting these people and just watch them go out of business? And then we just go buy that business back. And then we can go back to spending in our community. And then we got a place where our kids can go work for the summertime. And you know, let's get back to normal. We don't owe these people no explanation why we're not messing with them. They just ended affirmative action in your schools. It shouldn't be nothing else to talk about at this point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any thoughts, Chief Quietwater, before we close out?
I definitely agree. I just think that we all, like you said, I don't think that it would take much. We just have to do it on a mass level, you know, to make an impact. But 13 weeks is not a long time to just say, you know what, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to reserve my money and spend it with our people, you know. And it won't take long for them to fall, because we are the biggest consumers. We spend the most money that we don't have. So I'm definitely in agreement with both of you.
And just being realistic, it's been 5 years since I watched football. So that's too tall of a task to ask our people. Just being real, we're sick. That's why we say we got to recover. We got to recover and remember our history, but we also got to recover and get wealthy habits. We're the poorest group because we have bad spending habits. You see what I'm saying? So we're not going to stop entertainment. So that's too big of a task. We're going to keep watching football, basketball. But what about locally? What if you find a gas station that has people looking like us working at the cash register? Buy your gas there. They run every Chevron, Shell, and Texaco all over North America. So you're going to have to find that gas station, and it may be a little inconvenient for you. But think about the people in Selma, Alabama. They walked for a whole year because they had morals and respect for themselves. Rosa Parks said, "You got me fucked up. I'm not giving my seat up." And then the whole city said, "You also got us fucked up. We won't ride these motherfuckers." So at what point do we say y'all got us fucked up? They already killing us. Now you done lost affirmative action in school. So do they have to just roll affirmative action back at the county, state, and federal level, where they say we no longer gonna have a token Negro working in the state, at the state or the federal level? Then will you niggas really
next?
You know what I'm saying?
Mean, like that's just the beginning. If they don't think that's coming, they crazy.
Tip of the iceberg. So again, as we all been saying, should just start somewhere. Again, maybe a little inconvenient, but what's a little inconvenience for your respect, your dignity, your standard of living? And I think that's just the realest way to put it. So
let me hit you with this real quick, just on that thought, what she just said. If you don't think that it's going to happen, people, they just laid off a lot of people on ESPN. You're working from home, the majority of you. You don't think these major companies, look, first thing major companies do is fire people when they see an economic upheaval about to come. So you think ESPN is the only one that cut their expenses with the payroll? You don't think these other major companies are going to start looking at their employees and starting to make the decisions on who's the asset and who's just getting by? You know how we like to say, I got an easy, high-paying job. Yeah, your ass might get laid off. So don't act like it can't happen, because it's already happening. How many of us lost jobs during the pandemic? How many of y'all have tried to recreate yourself since the pandemic because you found out you were non-essential? Did you forget? It's like we got a mental problem. So let's not act like they're not already doing it. How many of y'all lost your job because you didn't get the jab? So if they rolling back affirmative action at school, do you think it's far-fetched to say they're not going to roll back affirmative action at the state, county, and federal level? So, I mean, we're an awesome group of people because we can take a lot of pain. But somebody that's listening to us tonight, you've already been laid off during the pandemic. You already on unemployment, or you reap benefits of the 2 years of unemployment when they were dropping checks in the mail and everything. So like, what is it going to take for us to be like, you ain't got nothing to lose. You already are being moved out of the areas that we predominantly live in. Detroit, Atlanta, New York. Come on, Harlem ain't Harlem no more. We just saw in Chicago 2 weeks ago, they bringing in illegal immigrants and putting them in abandoned school buildings and giving them money right in front of the prisoners of war face in the city of Chicago. So how much more we got to see? We ain't talking crazy. Y'all got it.
That's all I have to say. I think we've covered everything.
Yeah, again, I stated earlier, just the tip of the iceberg. We think this is just the end. I mean, the trend is our friend. We seen that, we thought it would be the end of, police brutality, and we seen what came out of that, a whole paramilitary operation in the base of where, a lot of the uprisings was coming from, which is Atlanta. So yeah, it won't stop until we actually do something about it. And as I stated before, what's a little bit of inconvenience for your respect, your dignity, hell, your life. So yeah, I think that's somewhere where we all can start. Again, baby steps, just like Chief Alligator alluded to earlier, just like working out, have to build that muscle, have to break that habit of being yourself. If you want, different outcomes, and go from there. But on that note, definitely appreciate you all rocking with us on this special anniversary. Definitely was a great build. Definitely enjoyed the engagement in the chat. Shout out to everybody within the chat rocking with us. I think this may be our longest individual video, that's for sure. So definitely appreciate everybody still being engaged, and we're gonna continue to break this stuff down next week and continue to try to put things in motion, come up with solutions. That way we can, ultimately create our own system, our own governments, our own everything. That way we don't have to worry about being recognized within this system, because obviously that will not come to life underneath these same conditions. So I'll go ahead and end there, and see you all next week.
Have a good one.
All right, we did it. You want to tell Chief Quietwater what happened right before we went live?
What happened?
You gonna like this. Go ahead, Chief Biko.
Hold on, let me see. He's still live, I think.